There we are. Hi, everybody.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Neil. I said hi to everybody else before. Jeff's just finishing up tying up a few loose ends, and we'll be ready to go soon.
Absolutely. Who've we got on board? Look, yes. Masha? Ludger? Oh, yeah, Europe's pitched up, yes. Mike is doing a really 03:58 p.m. That's hit time here, not American time. All right. Who else we got? Neil. Hi, Neil. You're such a regular, Neil. We do wonder about you. Don't you have a life?
Don't scare him off, Nick.
Oh, dear. Right. I don't know what that airplane is. I wonder if anyone can tell me. It looks like
something piston.
A stomp or something. Perhaps not a stomp. Perhaps a stagger wing. Or
where did you take that picture? Do you remember?
I came off the Squinty net.
Oh, it's not one of yours.
No.
Hi, Tim Van Ram. Ooh, that's early on the West Coast. 8 o'clock. He's having breakfast with us.
Ah, right. Excellent. Mm-hmm. Oh, thanks for spotting that missing overlay, Liz.
No problem. I was telling Jeff that it isn't always foolproof when you do a bulk upload. He was saying how great the facility is, which it is, but you have to just check that they all made it.
Yeah, I think part of the problem is the way I organize my files. Normally I have them coming up in blocks of when they were produced. So the ones you do today, the ones you did last week, the ones you did last month, that kind of thing. And sometimes if I've got a day or two between doing them, they're in different blocks, and I don't realize that I did one a few days back, and it's not where I think it is.
Oh,
so so I think it's down my end. I don't think it's a stream.
Oh, you don't think it's the facility? Okay, that's good to know.
No, it is. How's the audio, everyone? Is it all working?
You sound great. Jeff did sound great when he was on, if I recall. Yeah. Ha ha ha.
Neil only works Saturdays, Sundays, Mondays. Oh, golly. So you're just partially retired. I was just listening to that today. Where is it?
Mike Kuiper says the audio's fine.
Okay, how about my audio? Because he hasn't heard me. Hey, Mike Kuipers. Are you hearing me?
I'd say you're a little low myself.
Again? How low can I go?
Oh.
What's that?
I don't know. Nick's playing some music now. Gilbert and Sullivan, yes.
Yes. A Englishman.
Oh, Neil does 37 hours in 3 days. That's pretty interesting.
Impressive. Wait a minute.
Very impressive.
Wow. That's a lot. Tim says it's cool and gray in the city by the bay.
Englishman.
Oh, one more thing. The meetup video and picture.
Oh, yeah.
Almost
How
ready.
was your meetup?
It was great.
Good.
Where would that be?
So I'm rewatching West Wing, and of course,
Oh
there's
yeah,
a bit
you
of,
love West Wing.
Yeah, I do. There's a bit of Gilbert and Sullivan in that when Ainsley,
Logan. Oh,
yeah.
sorry, Logan's home due to the snow.
Oh right, okay.
Sorry, go ahead, Nick. I interrupted you.
No, not at all. I was it
Very
really.
rudely.
There was a bit of HMS Pinafore in West Wing, and I thought, oh yeah, I haven't listened to HMS
Haven't heard of
Pinafore
that.
for a while.
There you go. Hi, Tony. Has it stopped snowing, Logan, now? I hope. Hope you're just digging out. April blizzard in North Dakota. 24
Wow.
inches. Wow. That's a lot.
That's impressive.
That is.
Hi,
I'm
Peter
just
in
going to show
Melbourne.
you something.
What time is it in Melbourne? Maybe 1 in the
So there's a bit of
morning?
leg because it's warm enough here to put my shorts on.
All right.
Test.
You did that
'Cause I've
without
always
moving your
thought
lips,
it'd be
Jeff.
so cool to be a DJ or to talk about. No. So here, I think you do.
Okay, I'll have to start.
There's Peter in Melbourne, and it's 1 a.m. in Melbourne,
Wow,
but he's
it's really
tuned in.
loud.
Sorry. Oh, should I turn down?
No,
Yeah,
I mean,
it'll-
just you were fine, and then all of a sudden, it just. I think maybe check your settings to make sure you don't have audio automatic volume adjusting
1 moment, please.
or whatever it's called.
I do not. I
Oh,
have
okay.
I have echo cancellation on, but automatically adjust mic off.
You don't have to have the echo cancellation on. You can turn that off too.
Okay. All right. I turned that off. They're both off now.
Okay.
Yeah, I think those blue skies are headed here, Mike Kuipers. We had a rainy time overnight, but I think it's clearing out.
I'm going to bump yours up a little bit. Okay.
Where is Mel Norner? Nornor
Where what?
from Peter Hat's.
He's in Melbourne, Australia.
That didn't say
Oh,
Melbourne.
well, it does. It does three
They spell it differently there.
three messages down. It does.
Oh, okay. All right, fair
I think
enough.
he was half asleep because it's the middle of the night.
That's more than just a misspelling, I believe.
Yeah, well.
Maybe he has a little pet.
Well, I
name.
gather Melbourne is famous for having 4 seasons in a day. So if you don't like what's happening now, you just have to wait a few hours.
And then the picture photos. Not albums, library. Which one
Sorry,
of these
maybe
is
you can hear my
best?
dogs chewing on a chewy thing. I'm sorry if you can hear that.
Not at all.
Got to keep her entertained, you know. Hi, David Ogden. In Texas, right? Is David in Texas? David Ogden?
I think so. Yes, he's in Houston.
Oh, you were
Wait,
in Houston
is that right?
briefly yesterday, weren't you?
Just in and out.
Yeah.
As they say, for a quick burger.
Yep. For a quick Papacitos beef steak fajita taco.
Oh, wow, sounds nice.
It
Were you
was.
able to dodge all the bad weather yesterday, Jeff? No
Yeah.
problems?
Yeah, we avoided it. It worked well.
Good. And you didn't get any bad weather at the cabin?
Nope. Had some rain last night apparently, but I guess I slept through it, so it wasn't probably too bad. Probably
Good.
kind of fizzled out a little bit by the time it got to northeast Georgia.
I was going to ask if you had a play with the satellite gear to see how well it works.
Not yet, because I haven't. I just don't really spend a lot of time here at the cabin. I've been gone mostly, either in Roswell or flying trips.
And this weekend you're going to be down in the city.
Yeah, and I'm
singing,
going to
right?
be I'm going back as soon as we finish today's recording. I got to get back down because we have.
All right. Well, let's get
Holy
going
Thursday.
then.
Well, hang on. I got to do one more thing, please. One more thing. Got to get a picture. Okay. Copy. Open. Overlay. Template. Paste. Ugh. You guys aren't being very entertaining with our guests.
Yeah, I've run out of fluff.
Yeah, I'm not very
Wow,
entertaining
really?
person.
I hope there's more fluff left in you.
Oh dear, I don't know about that.
So who did you have at the meetup, Jeff? You had David Lieb and Roger and the two ladies, and was that it?
David Lieb, Roger, the two ladies, and Ryan Beasy,
Oh, Ryan came.
the
Oh, cool.
Sikorsky
Yeah,
helicopter pilot.
the chopper pilot.
Yeah, the chopper. Okay.
He
How
didn't
was
come in his
it?
chopper, though, did he?
No, he did not. He came in more classic transportation.
Was the place good that you chose? Was it okay?
Yeah, it was okay. It wasn't, it wasn't gourmet cuisine or anything. It was bar food.
But how was the beer? Come on, let's get
The beer was good. It had a great selection of beer.
Excellent.
It was. I ended up drinking a couple of Bell's Two Hearted IPAs,
Oh, very good.
one after the other, not at the same time.
Oh, really? No two-fisted drinking?
I don't believe you.
Well, I understand why you wouldn't.
Mm.
Okay. So there's the picture. Where'd it go? White Plains Meetup. And
Do you want Nick
shoot.
to record today?
Where'd it
Jeff?
go? Yeah, if he wants to. Oh, that's right. I haven't set that up either for me. I'm sorry, guys. I just got a little bit behind. I'm just running like a chicken with its head cut off. Where did
Oh,
put
I could
that?
do a new upgrade. Oh, Hijack 4 is available as a
Oh,
paid
don't-
upgrade.
Don't do it right now.
No, I wouldn't do it anyway.
It's a major upgrade, and I haven't even installed it on the production machine yet.
All right.
Let's see. Where is it? Where did I just?
get
I
out to
just
put-
did it.
I guess this is what could
Said
be
the actress to the bishop?
considered the pre-show. Seeing as we have a banner, I might as well use it.
Might as well.
Might as well.
Okay. HGN, here we go. Boom. And then let me put that in the overlays.
Oh, what is that for the meetup? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, that's fine. I'll find it.
I have not yet done it though. I'm just about
Okay.
to.
Alrighty.
I'll put it right before the cover art.
Okay. Perfect.
Ow!
Ouch.
Okay. Is that Poppy in the background
Poppy
doing something?
chewing. Sorry, is that
Okay.
bothering?
No,
because
I'm just wondering
I'll
what
be
that
going
sound
out
is.
of the audio soon.
Yeah, no problem.
Oh, there you go.
Then I'll
I've
get.
got the,
Oh,
I've got the
and I did
photos.
invite you to the clean feed.
Oh, okay.
Liz.
Sorry. Yep. Okay. Let me just mute myself here.
Okay. There we go.
I'm glad we're covering that 777 today because
Yes, I can. Except I just realized now I need to plug it into my mixer. It's just coming out of the speaker. But yes, I can hear you.
Okay. I'll just mute myself for now.
Anyone hiding eggs for... Yeah, Oh, Death Star Episode 2. Wow. 12.6%. I'm not sure that classifies as a beer, Neil. Golly.
Wow, that's a lot.
That is.
Well, I seem to say that a lot, don't I?
Oh.
A lot.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Yes, I'm sorry about that. I did my best to mute, but
It didn't work.
no, it didn't.
Jeff's going
I'm
to be
afraid
tone
these
deaf
things-
for his singing later, I think.
Yeah. My sneezes are fairly famous because they happen without any warning, and I'm as surprised as everybody else.
Is that about the highest ABV that a beer can be? 12.6, or can it go?
I don't
think
know.
they can be higher.
Yeah, I mean, it's the strength of wine, isn't it? So, golly. Trouble is, I find it quite hard work drinking beer like that because it kind of stops tasting a bit like beer and tastes like completely different kind of drink.
Gotcha.
I agree.
So it just it's enjoyable, but I don't find it refreshing.
I understand. Well, you're talking to someone who enjoys a Coors Light, so there you go. I love
Yeah, heathen,
I'm
heathen.
I'm not a really, as you can tell, I'm not really a beer drinker at all. So
Well, that's all right. I wouldn't classify Coors Light as beer, but there you
no,
go.
it's not. I know it's not, but I find it light and refreshing. So
It is, I'm sure. Slightly limp-wristed.
yeah, very much so. I think more than slightly.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
No, absolutely, yes.
Let's be careful.
I always am. I've been watching a little video from one of the photographic shops I use in the UK, Wix Photo. And there's a lass here talking about the first 1200 millimeter L series lens that Canon produced. And one sold, they did produce 3 types. I think there's only like 9 or so of the production ones in existence, but they produced 3, a prototype, then a sort of an experimental pro model, and then they produced about 9 production ones. And the second in the line was recently auctioned. And I think it cost, I want to say £128,000, somewhere around there. It must have been more than that, actually, because she said it was the price of a 6-bedroom house in the south of England, which is...
That's what she said.
phenomenal. Yeah. Very exciting. And she was standing beside one in her sort of garden, this vast lens.
It's still usable, is it? Is it still usable?
Oh, yeah, very much so, yes. They produced it for an Olympics. Which one would it have been? I don't know, probably the Atlanta one or something like that.
Okay, Atlanta, yeah, that's mid-'80s, wasn't it? The 80s?
Yeah.
Atlanta, I think, something like that.
It sounds like Poppy's learned to play table tennis.
Yeah. Well, she's got this really hard bone thing that she chews on the floor, and it makes this... I can take it away from her if you want.
No, don't. No, it's fine. Absolutely fine.
Okay.
I was just intrigued by it because it sounds, like there's someone in the back of your house there going...
Sounds like a rodent having a chew.
Okay. And
Hi,
almost
Andy
ready.
Harris.
Almost ready.
Mm-hmm. I think Andy Harris. Andy, are you in Atlanta? I'm not sure.
I don't think so.
No.
He was in Atlanta for the
for
500th.
500th. Okay, that's maybe what I'm thinking of.
But he is going to tell you now where he's actually from.
I'm waiting. Come on, Andy. Let me know.
Miguel has got problems with his water.
He's saying that Coors Light is just water.
Beer flavored water.
Oh, Cincinnati, Ohio. Got it.
I thought it
Thanks,
was
Andy.
somewhere north of Atlanta.
That's quite a
Okay,
bit
so is my
north.
volume okay? Because I'm not hearing myself very.
You're not
loudly.
particularly loud, Jeff.
But
Okay.
I'd say still a little low.
Let me go over here to audio hijack and.
Tim
bump
Van
up
Ram, you
my
haven't given us the
volume.
punchline. Why is Coors Light
Hello.
like a canoe? Speak, Jeff. Have you?
Hello, hello. Testing 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, that sounds
Stand
good to me.
by. Yeah. What does it sound like to the folks in the chat? Am I okay volume-wise, or do I need to?
Pump it up.
I'm
Be
still
more
here, by the way.
manly.
Did you take your video out?
Yes, I did. I did that on
Okay.
purpose. You can still hear me, though, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. You bet.
Okay.
You
Yeah, I
bet.
did that because
Andy's
I-
saying you sound great. Andy sounds
Okay.
good, and
Okay,
Logan
good.
says you sound good.
I had to turn my camera off because I don't have any pants on,
Oh, great.
and I have to stand up. Seriously.
Oh.
I haven't had time to dress.
Wow. That's more information than we really
I'm
wanted,
low.
but
Okay.
there you go.
Well, too bad.
Yep.
Is that any better, you guys? I turned myself up a little bit there.
It's better.
Better. Richard Fulton, hello. Richard, I'm going to give you the link to the YouTube chat. You can come over there. There's lots of folks in the YouTube chat. Captain Ridiculous Wits. Okay. Okay, thanks, Tim. Hi, Richard. Are you in some exotic location, Richard? I know you fly all around Singapore and the Southeast Asia there. Are you at home? What's Jeff doing without his pants on that we can't see him?
Yeah, I perhaps he finds it, it cools the parts that
Oh, I see,
trousers
uh-huh.
can't reach or something. I don't
Oh,
know.
Richard's just back from Bali. It's too bad that Nigel isn't here. They could talk Bali.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
I haven't heard from Nigel lately. Have you been talking to him, Nick?
Oh, yeah, occasionally.
Because he hasn't been in the chat or anything lately.
Yeah, he's a few shows behind and he doesn't get in that often, sadly.
Captain Nigel has a place in Bali, Richard. That he
Yeah,
hasn't seen
he's got a
3
kind of
years
a
or whatever.
holiday home there which he rents out.
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually, I've
seen
not been there, but I've seen
photos.
the
It
pictures.
looks
It's
beautiful.
gorgeous.
Yeah,
Yes.
gorgeous.
Are you talking about me pantless?
Yeah,
Yep.
you're gorgeous. Hello,
I thought
gorgeous.
so.
Gorgeous.
Okay.
Are we
I
ready to
think.
roll?
Let me get the recording going. What do I hear
Okay,
interference?
3, 2, 1.
Are you
Yeah,
recording,
okay.
Nick? It's going to be one of those shows. They're all one of those shows. They're all those shows.
I'm afraid so, yes.
Oh, there's James Graves Brown. Hi, James. Yeah.
Why do I not see anything here? Oh, okay. There we go. Okay.
Oh, well. Hi,
Nice.
Captain
Nice you could-
Ridiculous Wits.
That's James. James Graves Brown.
Hi, James.
Oh, hey, James Graves Brown. Liz, would you
there's
just do
Micah.
another just quick check over on Clean Feed
Yes,
just to
sir.
make sure I'm getting signal from you? Okay, I
And
see
then it
you
was just
there,
me.
but for some reason I'm not getting it on my recording software. No, I'm sure. No, it's not you, because I can hear you. So that's on. Say something. Okay. Okay, it's going to Reaper.
Anyone in the chat room flown the 777?
Why is it not doing that? Oh, I think I know what the problem is. I'm glad I...
Yeah, mate.
Okay.
Liz is muted so she can do clean feed checks.
Oh, I
Micah.
have it set up with the wrong audio device. Okay, loop back to Reaper. Okay. Okay, test. Nick, say something?
Nick, say something.
Okay. Ooh, I am so glad that I did this because I almost started the show with it improperly set. Looks like we have everything set up now.
Good.
Correctly. Yes, please do. That would have been a mess to try to figure out how to
I'm
fix.
back. Hi,
Hello.
Micah. Yeah, I'm back.
Okay.
Okay. I'm ready when you're
Let me
ready.
get to the... I'll just do a music sound check just to make sure the level's okay.
You're listening to the Airline Pilot Guy Show.
The view from our side of the cockpit door.
WAPG.
Too loud?
Little high.
Okay.
You're listening to the Airline Pilot Guy Show.
The view from our side of the
Is that the same?
Bearable. A little lower.
Okay.
You're listening to the Airline Pilot
That's
Guy
good.
Show.
That's good.
The view from our side.
Okay.
Yep.
Come on, man.
One of our faves.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Let me just make sure we were still recording over here.
I'm optimistically taking the pre-show thing off.
Okay. Please do. Oh, shoot. No. Stop.
Stop.
Hang on. I'm sorry. It was not in the right location. Why are you not working? Hello?
Hello?
Back in a sec.
Yep.
Okay. What is going on? Oh, it's still recording. That's why. Stop.
Jeff, what is your hard out at the end of the show? What time do you have to actually be out?
I really need to be out at about 2:30 at the latest.
Okay, so
12:30,
that's fine. We could
1:32.
just make it if we start soon.
Yeah, and I might actually, you know what? I might actually say let's just cut it off maybe
Sure.
a half an hour early.
Sure, that's fine.
Because I want to make sure, I'm not sure what the traffic's going to be
No,
like, and
I
I can't
understand.
be late for rehearsal. And I really need to look at some of the stuff that we're singing tonight because
That's fine.
I haven't
That's why I'm
organized or
asking.
anything.
You're in charge today. Well, you're,
All right.
you're always in charge, she said, laughingly.
Well, he likes to think he is.
That's
I
right.
am definitely
we
not
tell
in
him-
charge.
We tell him he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like being an airline captain. You're not really in charge of anything.
Yeah.
It's just that you get blamed if something goes wrong.
Yeah, you're the one that goes up in front of the chief pilot.
Exactly.
All those stripes, they really don't mean anything.
They don't.
No.
It's just whoever has the most stripes is the biggest sucker. Okay. I think we are ready. So, 30. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
A little bit, about a half an
That's
hour
okay.
after we thought we were going to start, but hey, you get what you pay for.
That's
Here we
the
go.
breaks.
All right, you ready, Liz?
I'm ready.
You're listening to the Airline Pilot Guy Show.
The view from our side of the cockpit door.
WAPG. It's the Airline Pilot Guy.
Airline Pilot Guy, episode 517.
Yeah, he's up in the sky. It's the Airline Pilot Guy.
Hello, you're listening to the Airline Pilot Guy Show, the view from our side of the cockpit door, with your host, Captain Jeff, broadcasting live from the APG mobile studio. Today's show is recorded on the 14th of April, 2022.
Yeah, he's up in the sky. It's the Airline Pilot Guy. Picture light and he's flying by. With the Airline Pilot Guy.
In today's episode, an Air France crew struggles to control their plane while trying to land in Paris. American Airlines is replacing some flights with bus rides. More news, your feedback, and today's plane tale. So get all settled in. Tray tables and seat backs in the upright and locked positions. Electronic devices powered on. I'm Radio Roger, and Flight 517 is ready for pushback.
Hello, that was Radio Roger Stern, an award-winning TV and radio reporter, currently at the #1 all-news station in the nation. 1010 wins in
New York City!
Welcome to the Airline Pilot Guy Show. It's an aviation podcast covering the latest in aviation news and your great feedback. I'm Captain Jeff, a pilot at a major legacy airline based in Atlanta, GA, and joining me from
in Hartford, Hereford, and Hampshire.
professional photographer, former RAF, RAAF fighter pilot, retired Airbus A330, A340 captain for Virgin Atlantic Airways. It's Captain Nick.
Hi there, Jeff, and it's just going to be you and I today. I think we're going to be like those two old men in the Muppets.
I exactly like those two guys, although probably not quite as entertaining. And also joining us today from her studio in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, retired financier and aviation enthusiast, spreadsheet master, and our producer, it's Liz Piper.
Hey, everybody.
All right. Yep, just the old folks today on the APG.
Gray-haired set.
Yeah, we have a lot of wisdom to impart to you young.
Yeah, so
youngins.
I'd set it to ×2 if you're listening to this on your podcast.
That's probably a good idea. All right, what do you think about covering some aviation news?
Good idea.
Stand by for news.
Okay, the first thing that we're going to talk about in the news today involves a recreation video that I'm going to play. And I'm going to add that to the stream right now. And we'll take a listen to Air France Flight 11 from New York Kennedy to Paris Charles de Gaulle in France. They were on final approach to Paris's runway 26 left, established on the localizer and cleared to land. And then this happened. So let's have a listen. Hello, Air France 11, established ILS runway 26 left.
Air France 01, bonjour, autorisé atterrissage 26 gauche, 230 degrés.
Hello, clear to land, 26 left.
Autorisé, confirmé autorisé atterrissage.
Confirm, clear to land?
Pour Air France 01, confirmé
Confirm.
atterrissage, autorisé atterrissage 26 gauche.
My aunt has been struck by lightning.
230 degrés, 8 nœuds.
Thank you for that translation. Uh-oh, something's going wrong here. Stop, stop. Not good.
Air France 01.
That's tower side Air France. I'll call you back.
Whiskey, stoppez la pompée 1500 pieds immédiatement.
You know what we should do? I just now thought of it. Nick,
What's that?
you can be the Air France crew and I'll be the tower.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Okay, so, okay, here we go. Here we go.
Air France Hotel Whiskey.
Air France
Oui, on
11.
stoppe 400 pieds.
I couldn't translate that, sorry.
Sacre bleu.
Ok, France 011, on a remis les gaz, mais...
Air France 11, we went around. Maintaining 4,000 feet, we'll call you back.
Okay, Air France 11, 4,000 feet, QNH 1013, departure under use stopped. Call me back when you're able.
Air France 011, on a remis les gaz.
Air France 11, we went around following the issue with commands. The airplane didn't respond. We're ready to resume approach with radar guidance. Give us time to manage the situation.
Ok, 011,
Air France
j'ai vu au radar que
011,
ça
I
partait
saw
à
the
gauche
airplane
et
diverted to the left on the
bref,
radar. Do you want to
pas de souci,
return
on
on
va-
runway 26 left?
Vous réessayez la 20, enfin vous repartez pour la 26 gauche.
On essaierait bien la 27 droite.
We would prefer
27 droite
27
reçu.
right.
Alors pour l'instant vous maintenez 4000 pieds dans l'axe, je vais coordonner
Okay,
le
Roger,
départ
maintain 4000. I'll check with
pour,
departure
une
for
longue vente
ILS runway
arrière et un
27
ILS
right.
27 droite.
Affirme.
Affirm.
C'est Air France 0.
Air France 011.
Ah, 11.
Donc la demande pour la 27 droite est bien prise en compte, la longue vente arrière, et vous passez avec le départ
Oh,
sur
expect
132
27 right approach. Contact departure 133.380.
133.380 Air France 011.
And after that, they landed safely.
That's
all
all,
right.
folks.
They lived happily ever after. And thank you to that reconstruction video.
Sacre bleu, says.
Sacre bleu.
Yeah.
I think she misspelled blue. Wouldn't it be B-L-E-U? Sacre bleu. Anyway. Yeah, so that was interesting. Let's read from Simon's Aviation Herald. An Air France Boeing 777-300, registration, whatever, performing flight 11 from New York to Paris. We talked about that before. They were on the 26 left localizer, cleared to land. They were descending through 1,500 feet when the crew was heard on tower frequency, audibly in distress. Alarm sounds in the background. One of the pilots calling, "Stop, stop, stop it." Tower instructed the crew to stop the approach at 1,500 feet when the aircraft descended through 1,200 feet, significantly having veered to the left off the localizer. The autopilot disconnect wailer can finally be heard on the radio transmission. The crew manages to go around from about 1,150 feet. While climbing out and leveling off at 4,000 feet, the crew reported that they had problems with the aircraft not following commands. The aircraft did not follow the commands. The crew requested runway 27 right, and under radar vectoring, they were positioned for that, and they landed without further incident. Let's see. According to ADS-B data transmitted by the aircraft, they were at 1,720 feet MSL, about 4.17 nautical miles before the runway threshold. The aircraft subsequently began to deviate to the left. Let's see. The BEA reported they rated the occurrence a serious incident and opened an investigation. The aircraft suffered a, quote, flight control instability, control stiffness, and trajectory oscillations. Cockpit voice recorder and flight data recorder data have been downloaded on the 5th of April 2022 and are being analyzed. Weather, not great. ILS Category 1 minimums, 300-foot broken ceiling in mist, and the winds were not bad, 240 or 230 at 8 or 9 knots, and temperature was 9 and dew point 8. So
Yeah, it was just about okay for a Cat 1 landing, but, I think in those conditions, most people would probably have set up for a Cat 2 or a Cat 3, perhaps.
Possibly, yeah. But in this case, it sounds to me like the autopilot system, for whatever reason, decided to start acting inappropriately toward the end, or getting close to the end, about 1,500 feet, or what did they say, or 1,200 feet. They started veering off to the left, and I'm wondering if they immediately tried to disconnect everything and hand fly it, or if they tried to resolve the situation with the autopilot still, or autoflight system
I can
still
answer that
engaged.
question, Jeff,
Okay.
because I have discovered that it's not until they have had a couple of those transmissions where, gripping the yoke, they've held down the transmit switch by accident, so you can actually hear what they're saying to each other. It's not until the second of those that you can hear the autopilot disconnect alarm. Now, that alarm, actually, I'm not that familiar with the 777. It probably has, that noise has other functions, but it also is the autopilot disconnect. So when they were initially struggling with the aircraft, the autopilot was probably still connected, and it wasn't until a little later on that you can hear the alarm saying, "Oh, you've now disconnected the autopilot."
Okay. Well, that makes sense. Now, I'm not sure what the standard operating procedure is for Air France in that particular situation. If that's, what they're supposed to do to begin with, or if they're supposed to immediately, take over control or whatever. So
No, neither do I. I mean, I'm kind of jumping ahead here, but if what happened is correct, then we would probably normally have just done a go around with the autopilot in whether it's the easiest way to do a go around in an Airbus. I don't know about a 777, but I suspect I might still be right. But if they suspect that the autopilot is actually malfunctioning, then it would be very wise to take it out. It's if they had time in that short period from when they had the deviation to initiating the go-around, and they did it fairly quickly. If they had time to analyze what was occurring and decide it was safe to continue to use the autopilot, then I think they would probably let it in. As it is, they took it out and hand flew the go-around, which is absolutely fine as well, because we're all supposed to be able to do that. That's just normal pilot stuff. And if you can't do that, you shouldn't be sitting in the seat. But the first noise you get on that accidental transmission is the master warning, the audio that comes along with that. And there are some situations where apparently you can't cancel that alarm. That warning stays on. I don't know whether I don't know what they had. So I don't know whether they tried to cancel it or it was just one of those problems where you can't cancel the audio. But certainly during that initial deviation, they had the master warning activated, and then they disconnected the autopilot and flew the airplane away. But from what they were saying on the flight deck, the big thing for me is that and this is on the back of the last two plane tails, I think there's a big startle factor here, because it sounds to me like they're really not sitting back and going, oh, look, this has happened. They're actually going, oh, well, what's going on? I can't fly the airplane, sort of thing. And I'm thinking that is almost surely down to, in a large respect, down to a startle.
Yes, I think that they were definitely startled, and they were trying to fight the controls with the autopilot still connected. And, you have to have a lot of, as you can hear from their transmissions, that they inadvertently are transmitting what's happening inside the aircraft there, that they're really having a time of it trying to move those controls. And when the autopilot's connected, I'm sorry, Liz, what's that? Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, the closer you get to the runway and the lower you get to the ground, things start getting more intense. You're expecting to see certain things, and that definitely contributed to the fact that they were startled and were struggling.
Okay, so what would cause their autopilot to pull them left off the center line then, Jeff? What do you reckon?
I don't know. I'm sure that the signals, the ILS signals, were properly protected. Because that was my first thought. And for those who aren't aware, because the aerials that the aircraft is following are positioned on the airfield, the glide slope is sort of in a big patch of grass to the left of the threshold, but that's not the one we're interested in. We're interested in the localizer that's keeping the aircraft straight and pointing at the runway. That's off the far end of the runway. There's no roads really around it. There's no taxiways that are crossing in front of it, except one, of course, that's right at the end of the runway. And with the aircraft at that height, you wouldn't expect another aircraft to be taxiing across. But there are a couple of access roads where a vehicle could, perhaps a maintenance vehicle or a bird scarer or some other airport facility vehicle could have driven in front of the aerials. And because they're radiating at a very low angle, and a metal object like a bus or a Land Rover or something like that in front can distort the beam, and that might well cause
a jink left. It might drive the aircraft to think that the beam has moved and I've got to track the beam, so I'm going to turn left to follow it. That might be one. Or, of course, it could just be a maintenance fault with the aircraft. It could just be an aerial. Perhaps a bird had just hit the aerial. Or they might just be a fault in the aerial that caused an erroneous left input. Either way, it's the sort of thing that you should actually be expecting on an ILS, because they've been going on ever since ILSs were invented and stuck on the end of runways. We've been getting errors from false beams ever since, and they still occur despite the complexity and the sophistication of the equipment on the aircraft. The aircraft's usually pretty good at spotting when it's doing something a bit odd, and will often raise a flag on the instrument showing you that the indication from the ILS is faulty. But if it's a subtle one, perhaps not, and it's up to you as a pilot to go, this isn't right, let's go around. Which is effectively what they did. It's just they didn't sound like one of those calm, oh, look, we're getting false ILS indications. I don't like this, let's go around.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So,
you're talking about these signals and such. The localizer signal and antenna array is located at the far end of the runway, because obviously you still need that localizer guidance, or many of us still do, especially if we're doing auto lands, to continue to keep the airplane going straight down the runway. The glide slope antenna is toward the touchdown zone of the runway, the front part of the runway. But so it's usually that localizer beam that sometimes is goes a little wonky sometimes if the signal protection area isn't being honored. But, I'm wondering, you said that you thought that you heard that master caution warning going on. I'm wondering if it's something internal to the auto flight system itself, or the instrumentation.
I'm only supposing. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
It could have been, this is an error, so we're telling you, and it's time to disconnect something or stop following something and go around.
Yeah.
Having
we
said
don't have
that,
a 777 pilot with us today. That would have been nice. Yeah.
Yes, we know one, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
Well, what a shame he's not around.
Yeah.
But having said that, they then completed a successful ILS in the same weather onto another runway next door. So I'm assuming the aircraft proved to be serviceable. Otherwise, because they managed to get it back on the ground safely on the second go. So it could be either the ground equipment on that 27 left, or a vehicle, or something like that, I would guess. Or perhaps it was just another taxiing aircraft. When low visibility approaches are in force, and I would have assumed they would be for weather like that, there's often a different stopping point as an aircraft approaches the runway, where they're allowed to park while they wait for clearance to take off. And it's different from the normal ones, which occur when the weather's good, in that it's got a double yellow line, and it's got a ground marking that looks a bit like a ladder laid down in yellow. And that's the Cat 3 holding point, which is outside the protected area for the ILS, just for this exact reason. And it's possible, of course, that someone waiting to get airborne had rolled forward to the wrong holding point, which could have caused this. So there are a number of things. We'll find out, I guess. But the thing that really worries me about this was kind of the crew reaction. And normally you wouldn't get to hear about that, because normally it's kind of kept within the airline. They'll have a chat with the guys and say, well, come on, well, perhaps we need to go back in the simulator and practice a few unexpected occurrences, because you all sounded a little bit flustered. But now, because they hit the transmit switch, we've all been able to hear that. That's right. Their dirty washing are now sort of hung out a bit, which is not ideal for them, but of course gives us an insight into what can happen sometimes.
Yeah. And it gives us something fun to talk about.
Yes,
and we say fun because we weren't there.
Yes, exactly. Yes, it wasn't me this time.
just a quick technical pause. I've noticed that some people, especially our sound technician, main man Micah, was saying that my volume was low compared to Nick's, and I did some adjustments, and I just want to make sure that that fixed what was wrong, maybe. Yeah, are we better in volume? Volume's better. Now please run a comb through. Okay. I don't think I have a comb here.
I've got one, if you want to borrow it.
Thank you. Yeah. Right, wrong way. Okay. Very good. Well then, based on that, you're just going to have to deal with the mustache, Tim. Sorry. Okay. Excellent. Now, let's no difference. No difference. Okay. Let's continue with this one. And yay, we have another little video that I'd like to play. I guess we probably should set it up a little bit. A DHL Air Boeing 757-200 registration, Hotel Papa 2010 DAE, performing flight 7216 from San Jose, Costa Rica to Guatemala City in Guatemala with 2 crew, was climbing out of San Jose's runway 7 at about 9:40 local time when the crew stopped the climb at about flight level 210, declaring a mayday due to a hydraulic failure. The aircraft entered a hold while the crew worked the related checklists. The aircraft subsequently returned for an approach to runway 7 about 45 minutes after departure. After touchdown at 10:24 local time, the crew lost control of the aircraft, which spun around and went off the runway, causing the aircraft to break up into 2 parts. At least 2 parts, I think. Both main gear struts collapsed. The crew was able to exit the aircraft without serious injuries. And the weather was not really a factor on this particular incident. And now I think would be a good time for us to play the video. It's an interesting one. Okay, it's coming into view in the right frame, and right to left going down the runway. It's slowing down, and this looks like the left main gear, there's some smoke coming from it, and now it's doing a little pirouette.
Oh, nice ground loop. Oh, he's half disappeared out of view down the ditch. Well, it looks a bit, lots of smoke.
Yep. Turn the volume down a little bit.
We can only see the front part of the aircraft and the right wing, really, because the rest of it is, and the fin, the rest of it is sunk into a ditch. A fire truck's nice and quick, but I suspect they were already on standby if it already declared an emergency.
Right. Here's another view, another video taken of the emergency landing. So as you said, because of the Mayday, the emergency vehicles are out, so I'm sure that got people's attention and thought, oh, something's happening here. Let's get ready to videotape this.
There's Quaint Arse out there with a big old aeroplane. I don't know what
Qantas,
that is.
just a translation there.
Oh,
Qantas.
here we go.
Okay, now we see the DHL 757-200 come into view. Looks like the spoiler panels are up. So
yep, they are. Yeah, I think so.
Completely lost hydraulics. I can hear the thrust reversers.
Oh, who put that truck there? Oh, that's better.
And
oh, a lot of smoke from the left bogies.
Yep. Kind of locked up the...
and he's going to the right. No rudder deflection at all that I can see.
Oh, I didn't even look at that. Interesting.
Ooh. Yep, and he's sunk into his hole.
Yeah.
Can you play that last bit as he did the ground loop? Because
Okay,
that looks expensive.
Yes. Oh, he's got some splaining to do.
Yeah. There you go. Look, there's a good view, right? When your tail on.
Okay. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, it looks like it was turning left a little bit.
Okay, yeah. But it doesn't look like the rudder's deflected much, whereas I would expect him, as he, span around, for him to have full left rudder on, because that's where his nose was steering. Unless, of course, he's got hold of the tiller, and he's trying to drive the nose with steering on the tiller and not on the rudders.
True. Hard to say.
Wow.
really.
Wow.
Exactly.
I
what
wish
was
I knew
happening
more
there.
about their hydraulic system and what might have failed, because you know, I'm never going to criticize someone for having this sort of a problem when you've got some of your major hydraulic services unusable because of a hydraulic failure. But it should, in all things being equal, he should have been able to land okay. Because
I'm wondering
Yeah.
if the. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
not at all.
I'm wondering if because of the hydraulic, we're not sure exactly what the extent was of the hydraulic system failure. I'm wondering if it somehow affected the anti-lock system, the ABS
Anti-skid, yeah.
anti-skid braking system, and that's the reason why the left main gear bogie started smoking, because maybe they were all locked up.
Yeah.
And then they just completely lost that friction on that side of the airplane, which means that if the right side was still supplying good braking, that's it'd naturally want to turn to the right.
Yeah, that's a good point. And of course, he may not have. I'm saying maybe he was steering the airplane with he may not have had nose wheel steering. I mean, on our Airbuses, if we lost the primary hydraulic system, the green system, we lost nose wheel steering, which meant you're basically steering the airplane on the rudder initially, as he was when he was first coming down the runway, because he held it nice and straight. But as he got slower, you have to use differential braking now to keep the aircraft straight, because you've no longer got the aerodynamic force from the fin. And if he's lost his nose for steering and doing that, perhaps he just got those brakes locked, and they lose effectiveness when they're locked. And then the aircraft with braking on the right only would have done exactly what it did. It would have done a U-turn. By the way, I noticed that I think he landed with a bit of a tailwind, didn't he?
I didn't.
He was landing on 07, and the wind was 2409 knots.
Oh yeah, that would be.
So I'm also
little bit of a tailwind,
wondering why, because the weather didn't look that bad, why with hydraulic problems he's landing with a 9-knot tailwind. Because I'm going, really? I would have probably asked to use the other end of the runway and get a headwind, because if you have the potential braking problems, why would you want to land with a tailwind? That really is making your life difficult.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with the Guatemala airport, this would be San Jose, wouldn't it? They were going to Guatemala City, and they didn't end up getting there. So San Jose, Costa Rica. I'm not familiar with that airport. I don't know if there are some restrictions regarding why. That's a good point, Nick, why they ended up landing with a tailwind.
Yeah, it may well have been restrictions. So,
and I can see right here in this picture the final resting point. The left rudder in this case is very... the rudder is deflected quite significantly, as if they were trying to steer left.
Yeah, or perhaps they've just lost hydraulic pressure and it's flopped over there.
That's probably much
By the way,
more
I
likely,
can see a package there addressed to
in?
Mr. Gonzalez. So I'm sorry, Mr. Gonzalez. It'll probably be a little bit of
It's going to take
wait
some time
before your DHL package arrives.
Oh, boy. Okay.
I mean, we laugh about it because no one was injured. The airplane looks a bit sad, but it's only a Boeing, so don't worry about it.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Okay. Yeah, where's Rick when we need him, Liz says. Let's continue with this next one.
He's hiding.
Let's see. JetBlue stuns analysts with takeover bid for ultra-low-cost rival Spirit. JetBlue has stunned the aviation. Okay, we just talked about that. In an all-cash buyout that would value Spirit at $33 per share.
Wow.
Spirit is already in the process of being acquired by Frontier in a friendly merger that would create the fifth largest airline in the United States. Following a New York Times story, JetBlue publicly confirmed it had submitted to a takeover proposal to the Spirit Airlines board, which it claims is superior to the proposal submitted by Frontier. JetBlue said it plans to fully integrate Spirit into its own... Why can't I get to the screen now and scroll this down? Great. My extra screen just stopped working.
You want me to carry on while you
Please
fix
do.
it?
Yes, carry
JetBlue
on.
said, no problem, its plans to fully integrate Spirit into its own brand, leaving analysts scratching their heads about how JetBlue would reposition itself amongst rivals. Serious questions remain over how such a proposal would clear anti-competitive hurdles imposed by the feds. The combination of the two airlines would position JetBlue as the most compelling national low-fare challenger to the four large dominant US carriers by accelerating JetBlue's growth, the airline said in a statement. Now, their chief executive, Robert Hayes, also claims the deal would expand the so-called JetBlue effect, in which legacy carriers lower fares in response to whenever JetBlue enters one of their markets. Oh, it sounds like they're complaining about competition. The Biden administration has set its sights on anti-competitive behavior, which reduces consumer choice, but Hayes argues that the JetBlue brand drives more competition between legacy carriers than when an ultra-low-cost carrier enters the same market. Customers shouldn't have to choose between a low fare and a great experience, and JetBlue has shown it's possible to have both, commented Hayes on Tuesday. Whilst JetBlue and Spirit are different in many ways, we also have much in common, including a focus on keeping our costs low so we can I can't speak today.
You have a little bit of my
profitably expand and offer an attractive alternative to the dominant Big Four airlines, Hayes said. We would conduct a full review of Spirit's product, offering operational and customer technology and talent pool to optimize the combined airline. JetBlue claims the deal would deliver $600 to $700 million in net annual savings and generate revenues of approximately $11.9 billion. Very impressive.
So I wonder what JetBlue is up to here, really. You know,
I don't know. They seem to have an awful lot of cash available. This is a cash offer, for heaven's sake. I mean, how many airlines couldn't do that? It's pretty impressive.
And recently I've been reading a lot of things regarding JetBlue and its operations and how they're kind of slipping in a lot of ways, especially maintaining their schedules and passenger or consumer relations and that sort of thing. It's kind of curious to me if they really want to, merge with Spirit or if they're just trying to throw a wrench into the whole deal. I don't know.
Interesting. Is Spirit renowned for good customer operations and communication?
Well, they're one of the, quote unquote, low cost carriers, both Frontier and Spirit, Allegiant, a couple others out there that are kind of, take pride in the fact that they are the cheapest way to go if you want to fly. And Spirit, because of that, and Frontier also, their reputation for customer service and customer relations is not up at the top end of the list. Let me just put it that way.
Kind of make sense to say that, that's one thing they're going to benefit from, but
yeah,
interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. That's
well, either way, you're going to have a very big carrier if Frontier or JetBlue manage to merge.
Yeah. Okay, let's continue on with the next.
The wheels on the bus go round and round, round and round, round and round. The wheels on the bus go round and round, round and round.
I thought it was all day long or something like that.
That's what I thought. Yeah, I've sung that song plenty of times as we taxi out.
Yes, of course. That's what we always do.
Yes. Well, I'm driving a bus, so it makes more sense.
Oh, very good point.
Yeah.
All right, American Air. Yeah, Liz says you should probably be out there driving a real bus. Come on.
I probably should, except I've got a bad back.
Oh, American Airlines is the latest carrier to contract landline for connecting flights operated with buses. The move comes as U.S. airlines face the concurrent challenges from a pilot shortage, primarily hitting regional operators, and elevated fuel prices that together have forced many airlines to fly less than they would prefer. Landline, I guess that's the proper name of the company, will connect American's Philadelphia hub to Lehigh Valley Airport near Allentown, Pennsylvania, and the airport in Atlantic City, New Jersey, beginning June 3rd. The destinations are 70 miles and 56 miles, respectively, distant from the Philadelphia airport, according to Google Maps. And while Atlantic City is a new addition to the Fort Worth, Texas carrier's map, it serves Allentown with planes from several of its other hubs and flew Philadelphia, Allentown until suspending the route early in the pandemic in May of 2020. The partnership is similar to ones Landline has with Sun Country Airlines in Minneapolis, St. Paul, and United Airlines in Denver. Buses will be painted in an American livery. Tickets will be sold exclusively by the airline as its own quote-unquote flights, and bags will be transferred between buses and planes as with any connecting flight. But the new American Pact takes the tie-up one step further. Pending approvals, travelers will clear security in Allentown and Atlantic City and arrive airside at a yet-to-be-determined gate in Philadelphia. American Vice President of Network Planning, Brian Znotins, in a statement described the partnership as one more way for travelers to connect to the airline's flights in Philadelphia. At a high level, that's what Landline does. It gives airlines another tool to expand their networks to destinations near their hubs. Buses make some routes economically feasible that are not with a plane. For example, American predecessor U.S. Airways served Atlantic City nonstop from Philadelphia on and off until 2003. The route is unlikely to be considered today with the poor fuel economics of 50-seat regional jets, the smallest in American's regional fleet, and proximity of the city to Philadelphia. So it goes on a little bit more. The rest of it will be in the show notes. But that's an interesting thing regarding the security aspect. If you clear security in one of the locations, and then you can just kind of buzz right onto the airport, the airside, in the bus, right in front of the airliner. I'm wondering. Yeah. Good point, Liz. Do they seal the doors on the bus? I mean, what's going to stop, and the windows? I mean, what's going to stop? I just don't know how they maintain that security on the bus when you're traveling the normal routes that a bus must take from city to city. That's an interesting idea.
That's right, because normally at a checkpoint, when a bus moves onto airside, it's not just the passengers on the bus who all have to get off and go through scanners. This is at other airports. But the bus has to undergo a search as well to make sure that someone hasn't secreted something on the bus that would be useful to a terrorist. So how you can do a 70-mile journey through countryside and then pitch up and drive straight onto the airport seems a little bit odd. I'm not sure the TSA would be very happy about that.
Yeah, I don't think they would be. Oh, well,
and apart from that, if I was a passenger and I booked a flight and I had to climb on a bloody bus, I don't think I'd be very impressed.
I wonder how clear it's going to be made to the potential customer that, oh, by the way, you're going to be on a bus from Allentown to Philadelphia.
Yeah, just because you painted it in the airline colours, it doesn't fool me. It won't have wings.
Oh, come on. You can fool some people, though, I'm sure. Yeah.
Some people, some of the time, yeah. I mean, I can understand why they're doing it. If it's only a 56-mile journey or something, and a bus would be much more efficient and simpler, then, why not? But it does seem a bit like cheating.
It does. It does. Oh, well. Low-level flight. Yeah, good point, Liz. All right, well, let's move on to this segment, Getting to Know Us segment.
This will be quick then.
Yeah, not a lot of us to talk about what has been happening since the last episode, but I'll start.
Good idea.
Let's see. I was on a trip last week. Just got home yesterday, a 3-day trip, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And before that, over the weekend, I did my usual singing stuff at my church. Anything else happen interesting? Picked up my daughter from the airport. She took a little trip out to the west to Arizona, and she saw Sedona, Arizona, and she saw the south rim of the Grand Canyon. And so I took her there on a Monday morning, and I picked her up on a Friday night, really late. But it was exciting to hear about how her trip went. And then again, Saturday, Sunday, sang at the church, and then out on Monday for a 3-day trip. On Monday, I was flying with Brent again, and you all know that Brent and I like to scope out barbecue joints if possible, and we went to one that we had been to a few times before, and we had some chauffeur service via Nick Camacho, Macho Man Camacho, picked us up at the Hyatt Regency in Wichita and carted us over to Delano Barbecue, and it was another wonderful barbecue treat. And yes, Nick. Oh yeah, he not only picked us up from the hotel and took us over there, but I let him eat with us too.
You didn't make him wait outside in the car.
No, we thought about it, but we took pity on him. No, of course he's not here to defend himself, but yeah, he was with us.
That's his fault.
And you know what? To be honest, Brent and Nick Camacho have a lot in common, a lot of general aviation stuff. And Brent was involved in a small ultralight, or I guess that would be the right term, aircraft company. And they were talking engines and displacements and various things that didn't. Yeah, I was the odd man out. I was just like listening and eating and enjoying the conversation. Anyway, next day, and I mentioned this on the last episode, maybe a couple of episodes now, that we were going to do or try to have a meetup in White Plains, New York. And I don't know, miracle of miracles, we actually made it to White Plains, because usually when I plan things like this, we get rerouted. And we made it to White Plains, and we ended up going to Ron Black. You know what? Usually what I do in this case is I explain everything, and then I play the audio, and in the audio I've already explained it as well. So I'm going to shut up and just play the audio that I recorded at our meetup. So here we go. Test. Oh, I'm supposed to go to 40. Hang on. Now.
Oh, here we go.
So here we are in White Plains, New York, at the Ron Black's Beer Hall. Isn't there an apostrophe missing on that? Anyway. We'll talk to the what is it called? I couldn't think of the word grammar. The grammar police. There we go. So we're here. It's the, what day is today? The 12th of April, and it's a Tuesday. I'm on day 2 of a 3-day trip. And a couple of weeks ago, this young man over here sitting next to me, everybody's young compared to me, Dave Lieb, contacted me and said, hey, what do you think, what are the chances of doing a meetup when you're in White Plains in a couple of weeks? And I said, well, what are you going to be doing there? And because he's not from here, and he said, I'm going to be doing some work here, and it'd be great to do a meetup. And I thought, okay, well, I think that'd be a lot of fun. I know somebody, Radio Roger. You hear him at the beginning of every show, announcing what we're going to be talking about. And I know that he lives in the area. And I said, this new guy I just met a couple of weeks ago, we had a meetup in Jersey City, Ryan Beasy. I said, he kind of drives by this area, sort of, so maybe there's a chance that he'll be able to meet us as well. So we started talking about it, and then Donna Rose contacted me, and she said that I'm thinking about going as well, and my friend Felicity Pine. And I went, oh, okay, that's very, very cool. So thanks to Dave Lieb, we are here at Ron Black's Beer Hall and enjoying the great appetizers and adult beverages, and soon we'll be enjoying even more. And so I'm going to do the old passing the microphone thing around, and you can say something pithy, clever,
or just say hi, or just pass it along to somebody else. Whatever you want to do. So here we go. We're going to start with Dave Lee.
Hello, all out there in APG land, and it's great to be here in White Plains with Captain Jeff and Roger and Ryan, Felicity, and Donna. So I'm glad this worked out. And yeah, he's blaming me for this meetup, and I take full responsibility. So I'm glad it's happening. This is a great place, and always a pleasure to meet up with the good captain and some people from the community. So I'm going to pass it right over. I've talked a lot on some other meetups, so going to go right across the table here to Donna.
Hi, everybody. This is Donna, and I've been suffering from the APG syndrome for about 2 years. And, sorry, and there's no cure, so I heard. And we're having a great time here in White Plains. Passing it along to Felicity.
Hello, I'm Felicity. I represent the many, many people who listen to APG and know nothing about airlines or planes or anything. But we love the show. We love the people. I'm learning a lot. I'm a little afraid to fly now unless I take a plane with Captain Jeff. So I will pass over to a very famous gentleman, Radio Roger.
Hey, you're probably hearing enough of me already in this podcast, so I'll be brief. I live in the town next to White Plains and was very happy when Jeff first told me that he now flies in here, so hope this will be the first of many.
Hello, Ryan again. Just happened to be in the area, and Captain Jeff in the area again, too. Twice in a month, I think it is now. Happy to meet some other APG community members and join the group. Back to you.
All right. Great. It's so nice to have so many wonderful people. And as I always say, and it's not a cliche, well, I guess it's kind of turned into one, but the best part of all of this and doing the show is actually these meetups and getting to meet everyone in person. And these are just amazing, wonderful people, and I'm having a great time. So back to you suckers in the studio. Ooh, that's kind of rude, huh?
Yeah, very rude. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Were you using your new radio mic?
My new radio mic.
Yeah, I remember you acquired a lovely radio mic that you thought you might hang on to and use for meetups and things. Or did you send it back?
Oh, okay. No, I see what you mean. The wireless mic?
Yeah.
No, I did not use that because that would have been extra equipment that I would have had to have plugged in.
Oh.
But no, what I did was I actually used the, what is it called? The ATR 2100 USB mic that I usually have in my bag. The last couple of times that I made, like when we were in Lexington, I didn't have that in my bag, so I just had to use the built-in iPhone microphones. But this time I actually remembered to bring the ATR 2100 microphone, so I plugged that into the phone. So it wasn't into a fancy Zoom thing because, again, that was just more stuff for me to take on the trip, and I'm trying to.
You do like to travel light, don't you?
I try.
Anyway, it sounded great. Well done.
Good. Thank you.
What were you eating? Lots of steak and stuff?
Well, let's see. The two ladies are vegetarians, so they were not eating a lot of meat, like zero. I can't remember what everybody had. David, I'm not sure what. I think he had a salad, and we had the picture that our server took up while we were playing the audio. So there's David Lieb on the right in the green shirt, and that's one of the APG, one of the original APG shirts. And I don't know if you can tell by looking at the picture, but the logo is almost completely worn off. So I have to send David another shirt. Although he was complaining because he said he can't get that color anymore. So I'm not sure why it's not offered in that color anymore, but. Anyway, and then we did also talk about T-shirt ideas and that kind of thing, and I'm thinking, man, if somebody's out there who's a creative and has some great ideas for T-shirt designs and wants to take the bull by the horns and actually have these T-shirts made and handle the sales transactions and all that kind of stuff, I mean, I'd be more than happy to let somebody out there do that. I just don't want to have to deal with it at all. I did that for several years of my life, and I don't want to do it anymore. So anyway, and then Donna, sitting across from David is Donna Rose, and then next to Donna Rose is Felicity Pine. And both Donna Rose and Felicity Pine are members of our Coffee Fund cadre. Thank you, ladies.
Oh, thank you.
And then that guy in the back, that kind of shady-looking character, yeah, that's Radio Roger.
Well, they're both pretty shady, those two. Yeah.
What's really interesting to me is that, I'm not a New Yorker, and I don't live in that area, but everybody there, immediately recognized Roger's voice and, 1010 wins, and they were just so excited that he's definitely a radio celebrity, star there in New York City. And then, of course, the guy sitting to the right of me and the other shady-looking guy, and he's looking at the camera going like, what am I doing here? What have I gotten myself into? Yeah, another waste of time.
Yes.
And that's Ryan Beasy, the Sikorsky helicopter pilot. And so I was happy that he was able to make it too. So that was our little meetup. Had a great time.
Well done.
All right. And that is pretty much it. I got back from that trip yesterday. Yeah, what am I doing this weekend, Liz asks. Well, this is Holy Week that we're in the middle of. Palm Sunday last Sunday, and then today is Holy Thursday. We'll be singing at the church. Tomorrow, Good Friday, singing again Friday night. Saturday, Holy Saturday, I'm going to be singing at the Easter Vigil Mass late Saturday night, and then, of course, a couple of masses on Sunday. Can you hear the truck in the background using their Jake brake?
Certainly can, yeah. You need
Engine
to put
braking?
a big sign outside your place going, no engine braking.
Yeah, I think there are actually signs that do say that. Nick, actually, no engine braking, and apparently they're ignoring that. Anyway, maybe they don't read English, Liz says. Yeah, maybe. Anyway, so yeah, it's a lot of activity at my church in the next few days. So wishing everybody, by the way, a happy Easter if you celebrate. And that's why we're doing things early in the day, to try to knock this thing out so that we can have this published hopefully by the end of the weekend or Monday, something like that. But anyway, so yeah, going to be busy singing and trying to find Easter eggs. No, actually, I'm not going to be trying to find Easter eggs, but I'm sure that some of you out there will be involved in Easter egg hunting activities, especially if you have young ones. Chocolate consumption. I can do that for sure. Okay. That's it for me. Nick, what have you been up to?
The usual from me. I'm looking after Mrs. Anderson. So she needed a hospital appointment, and I needed to beg a ride to another hospital for one of my appointments because I couldn't drive myself. It's one of those things where they put eye drops in your eyes that expand your pupils so that you look like a drug addict. Why they want you to do that, I never know. But anyway, so I couldn't drive myself home. And, got MOTs due on the cars and services and all sorts of things. So I'm being kept very busy, sadly. Most of it just a little bit on the tedious side. But the good thing is that bowling season starts in a couple of days. So and we're getting some good weather this week. So I'm looking forward to that. That's about it, really.
Very good. No, Liz, I did not get my income tax done. Yeah.
I never have to fill out another income tax form. I had a win with the Inland Revenue, and they said, "Oh, you don't have an income. Oh, you don't have to fill out the form again anymore."
That's nice.
Yay!
Yeah. Well, I'm kind of taking the same attitude, although I'm still required and obligated to file income taxes. So I don't know. Thank you for bringing it up, Liz. I really appreciate it. I wasn't in a good mood until you mentioned it. Yeah, okay.
Don't you have an accountant that does it for you?
Yeah, but you still have to collect all the things that they need to file, and I haven't been good at organizing all of that. And, I know you're going to find this very surprising, but I'm kind of a procrastinator. So, yeah.
Is that a procrastinator who's a professional?
Yes, I'm a professional procrastinator. I'm among the best.
I thought so. Yeah, I could
yeah.
tell you that.
Yeah. Well, wouldn't you like to know? Oh, you mean a tax filing extension? Ah, yes. I'm sure going to have to do that. Yes. And which is kind of a standard thing anyway that happens every year. Okay. Well, and not only because it's my fault, but probably mostly. Let's talk about the artwork from the last episode 516, entitled Unusual Attitudes. Wow. Look at this thing. Wow. There is so much there. What a great piece of artwork, Captain Nick.
Well, you gave me about 5 different possible titles, and I think I managed to get them all in.
I think you did. Yeah.
There's a bit of beaver stuffing.
Yes.
Some
we all
humping
enjoy
and
that.
dumping. Yes. Some humping and dumping. Something about looking at Fanny. But my favourite bit, apart from the button, the amazing button that no pilot would ever push, and we still don't know what it was.
I see that button though in the picture. That's good.
Yeah. Apart from that, was something that came on was on the picture when I found it, which I slightly altered. So it now reads, "D-bag is the poetry of the air." And I thought, it used to say music is the poetry of the air. And since I had to put D-bag in there somewhat, but I thought that's fantastic. That's just for Nick Macho Camacho, because of course they have to deploy a D-bag when they throw paratroopers out of their C-47. So that's what the reference is, nothing else that it comes to mind.
I mean, what else could you possibly be referring to?
Exactly right. Yeah. And Steph had a reference to it as well, didn't she? Isn't there a free fall parachuting reference to a D-bag? I don't know.
I think so, yes. I think she mentioned something about that. And also, Liz is making the point that you made it somewhat easy this week to find the show number. I even saw it without any help.
Yeah, it just happened that this shop front that I altered had the street number 516. So.
Oh, really? Wow, how convenient.
Yes.
What a coincidence.
Took me a long time to find an image of a shop front with number 516 on it. So
I'll bet.
Yeah. But if she starts complaining, I'll make it impossible again. And then, by the way, anyone who saw the last one, saw the one prior to this, the show number was on the red Sputnik, the bottom of the red Sputnik, if you couldn't find it.
Ah, okay. I never did find. I don't even look anymore because it's just too hard to find.
Oh, with your eyesight, I'm not surprised, Jeff.
Yeah. What? Who's that talking to me? Yeah, hearing as well. All right. Well, very good, and I can't wait to see what would come up or you come up with for this week's.
Well, I need a good suggestion. So,
we
chat
don't have
room,
any good titles
get
yet.
your thinking caps on, please.
Yeah, start thinking about it. Definitely. All right. Let me get over here to the soundboard. And is there anything else we should do except maybe move on to the coffee fund?
Oh, Pip's in the showroom, by the way. Hi, Pip.
Oh, hello, Pip. How you doing? He says, "Boo." He scared me. The coffee fund.
Johnny, how much more coffee?
No thanks.
I love coffee, I love tea, I love the APG community. Coffee and tea, and the Java and me. A cup, a cup, a cup, a cup, a cup.
I should probably not sing so high. Anyway, it's the coffee fund. That's your way to support the show financially, and you can become members of the Coffee Fund cadre, or the Coffee Bar Club, as Nick likes to call it, and a couple different ways to do it. One is the Coffee Fund Classic method via PayPal, and since the last episode, we have a couple of folks, a couple of APG members who contributed, George Hollis and Mazutz Karim. So thank you very much, guys, for doing that. And also, the other way to support us and become part of the Coffee Fund cadre is to become a patron of our show via Patreon. And since the last episode, we have a new patron, James Mack. thank you, James, for signing up to become a patron of the show. So, if you're interested in joining this great group of folks, as long as you have the financial resources to do so, why don't you head over to airlinepilotguy.com/coffee. You'll be glad you did. And as always, we will too.
Captain, incoming message.
And we'll pause for a moment to allow Nick to return from his physiological break. But we have played the bumper. And thank you for the time stamp reference, Liz.
Golly, you were quick.
Well, and sadly, that's what she said. There we go.
That's what she said.
Haven't played that one in a while. Okay, let's start with some feedback. What do you think, Nick? You ready?
Good idea, sir.
All right, this is from Mike. He sent this in. He says, "Hi, Liz and Dr. Steph." What? Oh, and all the others too, he puts parenthetically. This is from the Buffalo News regarding dealing with those nasty de-icing and anti-icing fluids. Good news story from Buffalo after last week's not-so-good drunk JetBlue pilot story. And again, he sent this in. Yeah, it's been a while since we received this feedback from Mike. Sorry about that, Mike Lawrence. So I guess what I should do, and I intended to do before I started talking about this feedback, is play this.
We're going green.
Buffalo Airport's going green.
We're gonna take care of the earth. We're going green.
Yes, they are.
That is so apt, considering the color of the liquid.
It is, yeah. Look at that spray on the picture there going on the airplane. That's going green right there for sure.
Certainly is.
Okay, a wintry mix of rain and snow was predicted a few days ago. Again, this was a while back, sometime in February. For Buffalo Niagara International Airport, the kind of forecast airfield managers never hear in tropical places such as Miami or Tampa. But in Buffalo, the snow and cold means crews spend much of their days de-icing an average of 110 daily flights to make them safe for takeoff. It also means that rivers of thick and hazardous de-icing liquids drip off planes emblazoned with names like JetBlue, United, and Southwest. Hey, what about Acme? And after all that stuff, unwelcome in sewers, and all that stuff, which is unwelcome in sewers, needs some place to go. Oh, look that. Speaking of Buffalo, we have our APG librarian, Tiffany, with us.
Hi, Tiffany.
A rare APG live recording on my lunch break. Hey, Tiff, great to see you.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway,
See,
we're
there
talking
was
about
an armadillo in Buffalo.
Well, yeah, on the tail of that Frontier jet, yes. I don't know if they have armadillos, though, that roam about Buffalo. They're probably a little bit too far north. But anyway, let's see. Buffalo Niagara International Airport is equipped with the latest equipment innovations, including new multitask vehicles that cost $870,000 each and combine 3 assignments into one: plowing, brushing, and air blasting. At Buffalo Airport, a new and expanded network of engineered wetlands appears to be satisfying Environmental Protection Agency mandates and more. The Niagara Frontier Transportation Authority has just completed a new component of an overall $12 million project that sends all those fluids into giant underground lagoons staffed by billions of bacteria ready to break it all down. Right. Not all, oh, yeah. Yeah, the little play on words there, staffed, is in parentheses. Anyway,
they're not staphylococci then.
I don't think so. I don't think that would be the kind of bacteria that breaks down de-icing fluid, but I could be wrong.
Not all airports handle the job on site. Indeed, only Edmonton uses the same system in all of North America, and some airports complain about the high costs involved. But the NFTA is enthused about a method that, for the most part, neutralizes the hazardous materials necessary to safely fly airplanes in this part of the world. Anyway, it goes on to talk about this, really, I thought was quite interesting, this 5 million gallon underground lagoon that they pump all the de-icing fluid that they've collected, and this biological bacterial goo kind of takes care of breaking it down into something that is earth friendly.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they have managed to extract anything useful from it, or whether they're just breaking it down and so that you can, spray it and leave it, or just let it go into the sewage system. But I mean, it would be lovely if we could recycle this stuff, because it's not cheap.
Yeah.
But there you go.
It just says that let's see. The decontaminated runoff enters the U Crest ditch near the airport. So I guess it doesn't do like 100% of the decontamination, but or maybe it does. Maybe it is 100%.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's interesting, and I think that if you're into science and engineering and goo, then check out this. Yeah, this behind the scenes and
listener.
And under the ground gooey stuff. There you go. Check it out. It'll be in the show notes. So thank you, Mike Lawrence, for sending that in.
Good
I think he's a
old
fellow
Buffalo.
Canadian, isn't he, Liz? London, Ontario. He drives his truck across the Canadian-U.S. border almost every day. Very cool. All right.
By the way, I think that's an A320, don't you?
I think so. Yes, that's what Frontier flies.
Yeah.
Good spotting. All right, we have some more feedback from, this time, Mr. Phil near Dulles. He says, anyone ever mentioned that that guy in the NOTAM recording sounds like Ross Perot? And I guess he's talking about this guy.
That's what NOTAMs are. They're just a bunch of garbage that nobody pays any attention to.
Yeah, you know what? I do think he sounds a little bit like Ross Perot, and probably a lot of people listening right now either are not old enough or are not based in North America or living in North America to really know exactly what Ross Perot did sound like, but his voice was very, very similar to that. It's been a while, yet. All right, so anyway, again, this is from Phil near Dulles Airport, Washington. Started
I
a new
reckon
job.
he sounds like one of those old men in the Muppets.
Yeah, I guess there's a yeah, I guess you could say that as well. Phil started a new job that included a 60-mile each-way commute. Listened to audiobooks on long trips, but started listening to podcasts on my new commute. I searched for aviation podcasts and first discovered Airplane Geeks. Going back through older episodes, ran across one where Max Prescott raved. Oh, yeah. Trescott, yeah, he put Prescott, but it's actually Max Trescott, raved about what a good time he had being a guest on your podcast. Have also followed you since. And then he adds, if any of the crew ever fly into Dulles and have some time, he'd like to take them to lunch or dinner, if so inclined. So mark that down, Liz. Dulles, free lunch or dinner, or both. Yeah. Okay. Well, you know what? I think we are actually starting to serve Dulles Airport again in the 717. So I might just, he might be sorry that he actually made that offer.
Well, I used to go into there every now and again, but
Yeah.
a bit late now. Can't take you up on that, sorry.
Well, you just non-revenue travel, standby travel over here just to get a free lunch.
Yeah,
that
it
probably
might be
doesn't make a
worth
lot
it.
of sense. All right, Spencer sent us some feedback. Again, it's been a while. Sorry, everybody. We're trying to catch up with the backlog of feedback. He says, hey, APG crew, it's Spencer from Utah. Just wanted to give a quick update. A couple of days ago, oh, wait a minute. I got to get something ready here. A couple of days ago, I passed my commercial check ride.
Hooray! Good job.
Not an easy one. Good job, man. And so let's see. Oh, anyway, I came across this video, and then he gave us a link to a video. It has to do with some major airline pilots that are based in Atlanta, Georgia, protesting or picketing outside of the Atlanta International Airport. And he says, it made me wonder, do you all think things really are that bad, or do pilots just like to complain about everything? The best way to answer that would be yes. Yes, and yes. I do fly. I have flown with, and I'm sure I will continue to fly with pilots that do like to complain about a lot of things. I'm hopefully not one of them. But the reason why these pilots were picketing and protesting and, well, making the public aware of the trip construction, or the way trips are they're not as easy as they used to be. We're flying a lot more, or they are, all of us are flying a lot more flights per day, and our duty days are getting longer and longer, and it's very fatiguing, and it's something that we have to think about as far as safety is concerned, because you can only do so much with the number of pilots that you have, and they are trying to hire new pilots to kind of fill the backlog of pilot slots, because the airlines are trying to recover from this pandemic thing, and they're expanding flights, and until they get decently staffed, they're going to have to use those of us who are on the rosters to fly more. And it's just getting, now I'm fortunate because I am pretty senior, and I can somewhat avoid flying as much as some people have to, and because they have no choice, and they're not senior enough to get out of that kind of flying. And I am concerned, honestly, that these trips are really kind of wearing everybody down. And I just had a discussion the other day with Brent that it's kind of I'm kind of surprised that there haven't been some safety-related incidents / accidents because of it. And I'm just hoping that we can continue to be professional and try to get as much rest as possible, and be responsible and that sort of thing. And hopefully things will improve as we get more pilots hired to fill all these, flight requirements. And the other thing I was going to add before we maybe discuss anything else is that normally I try to avoid, or we try to avoid here on the show, anything to do with union stuff, union politics, union contracts, that kind of thing. And that kind of falls in the same category as talking about politics and talking about religion. I think we're all better off by kind of avoiding that and just sticking with the stuff that we can all kind of talk about and not get all bent out of shape about. And I'm sorry, I was a little thrown off because Liz, while I was trying to speak, was saying something about union officials being naked in front of hotel windows, and we've already covered that. Yeah, she basically, that was like an exception to that rule about union stuff. But it just so happened that he was a union leader. It really, I don't think it had anything really specifically to do with being an exhibitionist.
He was protesting.
Yes, it was, where somebody protested his appearance in the window. Anyway, so Spencer, thank you for kind of mentioning that. And again, I don't want to go into too much detail about like the union company negotiations aspect of all this stuff, but it's something that I think is present in probably all the airlines around the world now, where they're really working people really, really hard. Or maybe it's just a U.S. thing. I don't know. What do you think, Nick?
Well, I think anywhere where the industry has picked up to more or less pre-pandemic levels, they're going to be stretched, because we know COVID infections are keeping a lot of the workforce away. Airlines will have cut their workforce. A lot of them will anyway, because they weren't needed during the pandemic, but now they need them back quick, and we know you can't just generate pilots. They don't just grow on trees, sadly. Other countries, not so bad because they're still in the doldrums, but it will happen to most countries eventually. And those countries that are amongst the last to recover will find there are very few spare pilots hanging around.
Much agreed. All right. Thank you again, Spencer. And we'll move on to this, our big-ass fan in Lexington, Greg Peterson. He says, listening to episode 513, and you were all amazed at the metallurgical analysis of the failed turbine blade on the Korean Air A220. It's amazing what they can tell from a failed metal part. When United 232 crashed in Sioux City, Iowa, that was a long time ago, the failure was traced to a metallurgical anomaly called a hard alpha in the stage 1 titanium fan disk. A hard alpha is caused by a contaminant particle in a metal alloy that causes the metal around it to become brittle. The brittle metal then cracks and the failure begins. That was in 1989, and they managed to find the cause of the failure. I can only imagine the advances in technology in the last 33 years that let investigators analyze failed metal parts like the Korean turbine blade. Again, that was from Greg Peterson.
I suspect in Greg's occupation, building big-ass fans, a lot of them, I'm assuming most of them are made out of metal. It's absolutely vital because if, those blades were enormous, and if one of them falls 20 feet onto the crowd below, it would be a big lawsuit.
That is not good.
No. So I expect that company has to know a lot about metal fatigue.
What did you say, Liz? Not a fan of that? Oh, would be a whirling fan of death. That was a show title, wasn't it?
Oh, it was once. Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, but if you get hit by one of those blades, I'm sure that they wouldn't be a fan of that. Rim shot. I wish I had a rim. Oh, I do. I have a soundboard here that I can.
God, we're not having that as a show title.
Okay, we won't have that as a show title. Oh well, we'll come up with something hopefully. I think it's time now for us to kind of do a little bit of audio feedback. We can do that, right, Liz? It's not yet time for our plane. Okay, good. Let's get this audio feedback from, I think he's going to tell us who he is. Here we go.
Hello, APG crew and APG community. This is Andrew from Ottawa, Canada. Just following up on a recent episode I was the lone participant to join Gubby for the Ottawa meetup, which I think was in episode 509. And as I've been catching up in my episodes, I'm just a little bit behind here. I came across a pretty awesome video that Gubby had sent in, and I have to say, I think he and I probably spent too much time laughing and talking history and not about current activities. That's a pretty amazing video, flying up north, and certainly that kind of aircraft has always been a fascination of mine. I mentioned in the video that I was a flight student, so I'm in my 40s and just now starting to get into getting my private pilot's license, and figured the discussion of flying in a northern climate might be interesting for some others out there. And I'm sending in a picture of my aircraft just before a recent flight I took, and it's kind of interesting. Even though winter is quickly fading away here in Ottawa, Canada, there was quite a few times where I had to clean off quite a bit of snow and get the ground crew out to de-ice the airplane as well. And also sending in a video that might be interesting just to get a sense of what winter operations look like at CYRO, which is one of Canada's oldest airports, and I think dates back probably more than even 100 years, and is just in the shadows of Parliament Hill. It's very close to downtown. Has a tremendous amount of history and actually is home to Canada's National Aviation Museum as well, just off the runway 09. In the video, when Gubby was talking about his flight, he was protesting, I think, quite vigorously that he wasn't holding hands with the other pilot. I can assure you that in the flight where you see me landing, I also wasn't holding hands with anybody because it was my very first solo, which I am very excited about. So that just happened very recently, and for me is a huge event and somewhat of a lifelong dream, I have to say, and still a lot more to go ahead of me. But really, aviation and flying a plane is something I've thought about. Geez, since I was a little boy. Really, I can remember playing around with my parents' old tape deck and treating the controls and the lights as though they were the dials and switches in an airplane cockpit. Having gone through the solo, a few things came to mind just in terms of feedback. The first is that as a student, relax and don't rush. Getting to the solo was a big event for me, and at a certain point along my training, I decided that I was failing myself in terms of my progression and how quickly I was getting towards a solo, and I was applying pressure on myself. And the moment, I expressed to my instructor that, hey, this is, I'm anxious to get to my solo. He said, just relax and enjoy the process, Andrew. It's not about getting through it as quickly as possible. And you know what? The moment I truly did relax, I progressed very quickly, and the lesson after next was my solo there. The second thing I wanted to mention is that if you're out there in the community and you're thinking, geez, I'd really like to learn how to fly, but I'll just do it next year. Don't wait. Get out there, get started now. I was fortunate enough to have one of my best friends in a recent birthday surprised me with a gift, which was my first few lessons. And he didn't actually just give me money. He looked out for the different flight schools in the area and booked me a spot. And so, my friends have always known that I've had this passion and interest in planes. And incredibly enough, this friend of mine, one of my best friends, was thoughtful enough to really just push me over the edge and get started. And there's so much to do and so much to learn and so much fun to have as well. Just get out there and start. And then the final thing that I would say is that it's remarkable the people who are in aviation. The office operations person at CYRO Rockcliffe, I remember her saying to me that when she arrived and she's there for her commercial license as well as running the operations on a day-to-day basis, she said, I immediately felt these are my people. And I think there really is something to that. And a big part of why I'm sharing the video in addition to the winter operations aspect is just that you can hear it in the person who's recording the video's voice. And he's just another student. And he was the student with my instructor immediately following me. And when he saw me pull in and my instructor to get out, he recognized what was happening, which was it was going to be my first solo. And what a thoughtful guy. He took the time to take out the camera, and you can hear it in his voice, the genuine and sincere excitement about what's going on, and he knows how happy I am, and I think he's genuinely happy, which I think is super cool. And I'll just add that as soon as I had done the solo, I knew that I wanted to provide my first feedback here. I've been listening to the show for years. I love it. You guys do a tremendous job. It's always amazing to listen to the banter, the insight, and the grounded perspectives on things. Nobody takes themselves too seriously, yet everybody is highly accomplished and obviously incredible pilots and aviation professionals. So there it is. I just wanted to provide my very first feedback after many years of listening. I can attest to you that my wife and daughter are very familiar with all your voices from listening to the podcast on family drives and long trips. But for now, this is Andrew from Ottawa. Wishing everybody blue skies and less than 6 inches of snow to brush off your plane before your flight lesson. Take care, everyone.
We are
Oh, it
so
was great.
glad you did send that in, Andrew. And these Canadians
Absolutely.
are such, for the most part, except for Liz,
Yeah.
are such
Yeah.
nice people.
How do you spell Ottawa? It's Odowa.
If you want to spell it phonetically, yeah, but it's Ottawa.
Oh,
But
okay.
nobody says Ottawa.
No, and Andrew didn't. I think it's fantastic. Great achievement, Andrew. Brilliant. And you're quite right. If I were around and I saw someone doing their first solo, I wouldn't be able to resist from walking up and congratulating them, because it's the first big step on an aviation career, life of aviation. And, you should feel rightly proud. I think it's brilliant. And the fact that you have to clear all that stuff off your airplane before you go flying, I think is doubly, hard.
Yes. Well, hey, speaking of that video that that fellow student took, we do have that to play for everyone.
wow,
so this
brilliant.
is very, very cool.
Does it end well?
No, I'll stop it before the crash.
Okay.
First solo landing.
Oh, cool. God, it's a lot of snow blowing around, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. It's Canada.
Wow.
Okay, there he is, touching down. What a
Beautiful.
beautiful
Good job.
landing.
That was freaking
Yeah.
awesome. Absolutely love it.
Oh man, that's so great.
Andrew is singing right now.
He's singing, "You can always go around."
Didn't need to. Good man. Yeah, that looks really nice.
You only get to do that once, Andrew.
That's very true. It's all downhill from there.
Yep. Oh, and then the airplane just went down a hill. Oh, that's sad. Yeah, and that was fantastic.
If you're going to get a video of your flight, then your first solo, what a brilliant one to pick.
Yes. Excellent. So again, what took you so long, Andrew? But thank you for finally doing it. All right. Our producer in the control room is telling me that we're going to go ahead and run the plane tail, because we're going to try to make this a little bit shorter show this week in honor of Holy Week and my schedule. So, without further ado, let me see if I can find it. Here we go. And Liz, are you ready for all that stuff? Okay, here we go. I'm sorry, I thought I had found it, but I hadn't. Okay, here we go. This week's installment of the Old Pilot's Plane Tale is entitled RAF 414 Volume 50. I can't believe we've already had 15 of these. It's amazing. I love these. All right, take it away, Old Pilot.
The Old Pilot's Plane Tales. RAF Form 414, Volume 15. The Royal Air Force's Pilot's Flying Logbook is a sturdy publication, cloth-bound in blue with gold printing on the cover, on the inside of which are the instructions for use. Para 1, Subpara A states that the book is an official document and is the property of Her Majesty's government. Well, good luck trying to get this one back. I left you having rejoined my old squadron, the Fighting Cocks, and after being given a brand new navigator, Cool Hand Collie. What I hadn't mentioned was what the squadron had in store for me, something I wasn't happy about, even though I should have expected it. After all, if you were the boss and read that your new pilot, an experienced Phantom chap on his third tour and now with 4 years of advanced jet instruction under his belt, you would want to put him in an appropriate job. What better than the Deputy Squadron Qualified Flying Instructor? It therefore came as something of a surprise to him when I complained bitterly.
Can't you help me? Well, do you have any idea of what you want to be?
Yes, I have. What is it?
A lion tamer!
I had left the squadron and had been dragged kicking and screaming to the Central Flying School, despite ticking the box non-volunteer on my application form. I had suffered 4 years doing a job I didn't want, whilst my friends and colleagues on the front line had fun in the weeds flying roaring fighter jets, and even fought a war over the Falklands Islands. I, it seemed, had been branded a QFI, which meant I was destined to spend a lot of my time in the back seat of a dual-control Phantom on my squadron, and on my next tour, even worse, doing a dead-end job as a QFI at the Phantom Conversion Unit. I requested an interview to put my case. Quite honestly, I didn't expect much sympathy. After all, the Air Force had invested a lot in my instructor training, but I had my ducks in a row when I suggested that 4 years as a QFI should be enough to amortize that, and it would be very useful in the role that I always wanted, that of a weapons instructor. Now, to all of you out there who think an instructor is just an instructor, in military aviation, the difference between a flying instructor and an RAF qualified weapons instructor, an RAAF fighter combat instructor, a USAF fighter weapons school graduate, or one of the many other men and women who train fighter pilots how to fight, is like chalk and cheese. And I wanted to be a cheese, a big cheese. You might wonder why in that list I didn't mention the 9-week US Navy Top Gun course. Well, I just gave you the reason. The course to become a Navy Strike Fighter Tactics instructor lasts 9 weeks. All the others are full-time dedicated courses lasting 6 months. No offence, guys. I'm sure you mean well and are a quick study, but geez, your whole course is more than 60% shorter, and your air combat phase runs for only 3 weeks. If only they could concoct a piece of Hollywood fiction to raise your profile a bit. Oh, wait. Anyway, enough of baiting the fish heads. I wanted to be amongst those honoured few who wore the RAF's red QY badge, with the Phantom Spook carrying a sidewinder under one arm. I never imagined I would get the chance, and anyway, we were off to the distant land of cockinelli and kebabs to catch some beautiful autumn warmth and do gunnery, so Cool Hand and I packed up and set off south to the wonderful island of Cyprus. As the stunning blue of the Mediterranean Sea passed beneath us, I pondered on my RAF career. If I were to pick a point of perfection, this would have been it. I was senior enough to be given the best of the flying jobs, but junior enough to carry very little responsibility. My experience gave me enough respect for my voice to be heard, but I didn't have to make any hard choices. All I had to worry about was flying and fun. What could be better? We set up shop in the now very familiar detachment headquarters, filled the fridges with Keo beer, and settled in for a month of shooting in the sun. After a bit of first-night madness in Chris's kebab restaurant, Cool and I had a couple of shakedown trips to film the flag so that the QYs could authorise me to go live, and to check the guns out by hosing off a few hundred rounds into the sea. It was a lovely job to dive down towards the ocean, make the master arm live, and fire off several seconds' worth of cannon shells into the waves. On pulling the trigger, an electric motor would start the Vulcan cannon spinning, and then it became self-sustaining, working from gas pressure. And if the 6 barrels tried to go past 6,000 rounds per minute, a brake would come on to check its speed, giving rise to a ghostly woo, woo, woo noise. It was something we rarely heard, since a normal firing burst was only half a second or so. Before long, I had a shoot of 44% and 28%, so had regained my Allied Command Europe ACE qualification and went into operational shoots that were a bit more demanding. 5 shoots later, and we'd put enough holes in the banner to relax and enjoy ourselves. So now it was lazing in the sun, scuba diving, water skiing, and sitting around with cocktails. It was on one such easygoing evening that Cool Hand showed his true colours. A usual night out included brandy sours in the mess, followed by a fast black cab downtown for a meze, a traditional meal of 10 to 20 dishes, including such delights as tzatziki, taramasalata, hummus with flatbread, big bowls of rough-cut salad, cheftalia, kebab, stuffed peppers, kleftico, slow-baked mutton, huge pork chops, grilled chicken and moussaka, to name just a few, all washed down with bottle after bottle of rough red cockinelli. These were feasts that left us all exhausted, all except Cool Hand, my nav, the skinniest man there. His party trick was to pile all the leftovers from the table onto his plate until it was a huge mound of food. Holding his cutlery in his fists like the weapons of a samurai, he would take bets like Paul Newman in Cool Hand Luke. After demolishing this extra snack, he had a habit of lining up across from a colleague and challenging them to a drinking competition. He would fill both glasses to the brim, and on the shout of meniscus would down his cockinelli in one and repeat the challenge. When his first opponent fell from his chair in a drunken stupor, he would move on to his next victim. This man was my perfect backseat companion, and would go on to command the Fighting Cocks and do many other great things in the Royal Air Force. It was while the sun was blazing through the flight commander's office window that I was called in to be given some news.
I gotta do something here. I still can't believe it. I gotta give you your dream shot. I'm gonna send you up against the best.
Someone had fallen out of the next QY course, starting early the following year, in 3 months' time, and they needed a replacement pilot at short notice. Would I like to go? The grin on my face lasted for days, and was hardly dented by the size of my hangovers. The 2 Squadron QYs immediately took me under their wings and told me of all the horrors that awaited me, and then set me to various unwanted tasks that they normally undertook during an armament practice camp, but also let me sit in the back of the cramped and dingy cine rooms during the many film debriefs they performed during the detachment. I was given the task of constructing my own cine assessment tool, used to measure the film image of the flag at the opening and closing of the firing burst to ensure that the safety margins of range and angle off were adhered to. For this I was given a copy of the Central Trials and Tactics Organization QY Handbook and told to get on with it. Suddenly my visits to the bar began to tail off as I studied Section 1, Basic Maths, and began to refresh my 31-year-old brain with indices, logs, trigonometrical ratios, simultaneous and quadratic equations, resolution of vectors, equations of motion, dip and parallax, trajectory, shift, and gravity. I skipped radar theory and probability theory, gave turn equations a glancing blow, and settled into air-to-air sighting. Before long I was quizzing the armourers on the Phantom fuselage datum line, the harmonised gun depression line, the bullet ballistics, the firing velocity, and applying air density, range, target velocity and angle off to work out the lead for target motion. With that I could add trajectory shift, dip, gravity drop, and angle of bank to get prediction angles. I took a look at the calculation of projection distance for the Spectro Mark III projector when using the F4's Telford gunsight camera film, and before long I had a usable lump of cardboard covered in squiggly lines that worked well enough. When we got home from Cyprus, I gave the marvellous news to my darling wife, who rolled her eyes. We had been at Lucas for only 6 months, having moved from Wales and just got settled in. Now I was telling her that in 3 months we were facing another shift of several hundred miles, this time from Scotland to Coningsby in England. The course would last 6 months and would be followed by another posting to who knew where. The excitement of getting my dream shot was starting to fade a little, as the practical realization of what she faced began to dawn on me. What's more, she was carrying our second child, the first having perished in an ectopic pregnancy, and if all went well this time, she would be giving birth in the middle of the course. I've spoken before about my wife's strength of character, and it showed through again as she smiled, squared her shoulders, and told me not to worry. She told me that she knew how hard the course would be, and that I should concentrate on getting through it. She would handle everything else. So it was that shortly after Christmas we packed up our house into yet another removals van, the cheapest of 3 quotes that we had obtained and submitted to accounts in station headquarters, and she pointed our old blue Renault 14 with one door so rusty I'd bolted it permanently shut, southwards, chased by me on the motorbike. I'd said goodbye to everyone on the squadron, and unlike my previous last flights, this one was all business, and a trip in the back seat of the 2-sticker, getting qualified as a backseat pilot in the Phantom with the squadron commander in the front. A few trips earlier, I'd been presented with one of my most treasured possessions, a 1,000 hours Phantom badge. Jilly was right about most things. The Phantom QI course was notoriously hard, and on most days I was going to be up and out of bed before her and rarely home before she climbed back under the duvet. The only difference at weekends was that we went to work in civvies. There were only 5 of us on the course, 2 pilots, 2 navs and a fighter controller, and the staff matched us 1 for 1. For the pilots, there was a fair bit of backseat flying, and I was now at a Phantom FGR-2 base, which had the RAF-equipped F-4s, as opposed to the ex-Navy ones I had flown back at Lucas. This meant getting to grips with an early-generation mechanical inertial navigation system. The INAS was like 1,000 Swiss watches packed into a suitcase, which the RAF regularly bashed with hammers to make them work. Its heart was a big mechanical gyro surrounded by accelerometers, which measured movement by turning cogs and wheels. In the same manner, waypoints were entered mechanically by disengaging pots, using a joystick to move lat-and-long counters around to the desired position, and then locking that in by pushing down and turning the pot to re-engage it. In addition, there were the radar controls that required 2 hands to work, a stick and throttles, except you couldn't engage reheat from the back seat. Not only did we have to fly intercepts from the back seat, we had to be able to fly an instrument approach based on the aircraft's radar mapping picture, both of which required at least 4 hands and 8 pairs of eyes, which explains a lot. The standard of flying and instruction required was high. Plus, we were expected to know the aircraft's weapons system as if we were going to build it. Indeed, in the past, QYs were responsible for proposing modifications to the Phantom, such as the pull-free mod, a design by Al Pull-free that allowed the nav to manually control the radar speed gate to prevent it from being decoyed by enemy countermeasures. As part of the course, we gave highly classified lectures and briefings on the aircraft's weapons system, and then went out and used it, firing AIM-7s and AIM-9s in novel and experimental ways, and then analysed the results. We often flew with the staff navigators in all aspects of air defence and had to coach them through intercepts and correct their errors in radar handling as if they were novices. we regularly took aircraft away and flew against other types, Sea Harriers and Hunters out of Yeovilton, Lightnings out of Bimbrook, Jaguars out of Coltishall, and at times it seemed most of the United States Air Force. Every aspect of every flight was debriefed, debriefs that were notoriously long and often went into the night, leaving scant hours to prepare for the next day's missions. We started work each day at 6 a.m, picking up a met pack on the way in to brief everyone well before the rest of the station was awake. I was not far into the course when I was recalled from a Friday mission by the boss. I didn't know why until I landed, but I was soon packed off to the maternity unit at Boston, the original one, a few weeks early as things were unexpectedly happening. Our firstborn took his time to get going, but then arrived in a rush, and all of a sudden Jilly and I were parents, and our world had been turned upside down. Luckily, our mums were there to lend a hand, and by the end of the weekend I was back hard at work. The arrival of our son was far from the only major event of the course, but to find out how I ended up in flames, you'll have to wait for the next installment.
Wow. As I said, those are always... Oh, I should turn my camera on. Thank you. Let's see. I just have to
Fix
figure
it
out
in
where
post,
that
Jeff.
window is. Well, but they don't even know that they're listening audio
That's
only.
a good point.
There we go. I'm always I'm fascinated by your experiences, Nick, and these Form 14 entries are just 414. I said 414. What did I?
Yeah, that's right. I think you got it right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of you. I find it. I think I worry that it's a little self-indulgent, but if you're enjoying it, I'll keep churning them out. Haven't got
Please do
that
it.
much.
Well,
that
the
much
thing
to go.
I have a couple of 2-3 things here that I kind of took mental note of here. It makes perfect sense that you wanted to be the big cheese. Let's see, a little snarky regarding the old naval weapons.
Oh, Top Gun.
Yeah, Top Gun thing.
Exactly. Well, you see, everybody in the world thinks that the Top Gun course is the pinnacle. And actually, it's everyone else who's done a proper course thinks it's actually a bit like a weekend course. It's it's not really it's not really they don't really go deep enough into all the aspects of being a fighter pilot. But there you go. They're the U.S. Navy, so we can't really complain.
I see. It's kind of like those like me who went through the 90-day officer training school program instead of spending 4 years at an academy or 4 years in ROTC. I get it.
That would be exactly it. Yes, exactly.
That's why they
right.
call us 90-day wonders.
Yeah. And when you think about it, Top Gun is all about air-to-air combat, and they spend a full 3 weeks doing air-to-air combat training, and I'm going, 3 weeks? Really? Is that all? Anyway.
Oh, the other thing I wanted you to explain to me, what was that sound again that the brake made on the gun?
Oh, woo. We always used to woo, woo, woo. It really was, because the gun was a long way behind us and on the belly. And so you could kind of hear it, but it was a ghostly noise. It really was. It was.
Yeah.
And when that brake came on, as it wound up to a full 6,000 RPM, and all these smoking bullets came out the front, it was really quite impressive.
And also, finally, before we move on, the pictures of your lovely wife, Jilly, were amazing. Really good.
Well, she's a very pretty lady. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, that's a bit of a classic, that one. Actually, I was going to mention one other picture, and that was my nav there. And he looks a little short there, but the reason is this was a formal guest night. So we're in the mess, all the best silver out. This was not in Cyprus. This was back at our home base. And the usual rule was that you had to hold it in for the duration of the meal. You couldn't leave and go to the toilet during the meal. That was considered a bit rude. You were supposed to wait until we'd finished the main meal and the dessert, and then the PMC would bang a gavel and we'd toast the Queen, and then he'd give everyone permission to go to the loo if they wanted. So Cool Hand, who had been drinking gallons of alcohol beforehand, couldn't last. So he decided he would sneak out, and what he did was to drop to the floor and crawl under the table until he got to the end of a leg that was near an exit. Then he bolted for the exit and hoped no one would notice. Well, of course, all his so-called friends did notice, and we stood up and quietly removed his chair and hid it, and then returned to our seats, so that when he came back, there was no chair for him to sit on to finish the meal. And that was him not being able to sit on a chair for the whole rest of the meal, and he had to kneel down on the ground. So anyway, you could tell that we used to play a few japes on each other. It was good.
We've heard a few of them here on the show on your previous Plain Tales. That is amazing.
It was good fun. Good days.
Yeah. Yes, Liz? Oh, that's right. Yeah, I did notice. I didn't realize that until we were listening to the Plain Tale, and as Liz was pointing out, Andrew, the guy that we had played his audio feedback about his first solo, and we watched the video, is with us in the live audience.
Oh, brilliant! Excellent. Well, I hope you were there when we were complimenting you, Andrew. So that's brilliant.
Yeah, I'm hoping he was as well. I think he was. So, anyway, welcome to the chat room, the live audience. I think he's been here before, though. Yeah. All right. But anyway, I'm glad that we finally had a chance to play your audio feedback regarding your first solo and all the advice that you have for people out there to get on with it. Just do it. Don't think about it. Just do it.
Yeah.
All right. And again. Oh, there's Andrew. Hi, guys. Thank you. Made my day, and I was there. Excellent.
Good job.
Okay, what, Liz? To the 2-hour mark or the 3-hour? Oh. I don't think you're doing your math right. 2.5. Okay, great. Yes. I want to do half an hour less.
Yeah.
Okay.
They can only
Excellent.
stand so much of us.
I know. Usually we're diluted with, Nick and I are diluted with really good hosts like Steph and
Yes,
C
exactly.
and Rick.
Yeah.
But,
So you get a break from our monotony.
Well, we're talking about the on-screen folks, Liz. Now, if you're more than welcome to join us on screen if you like.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, why not? You're obviously making some funny quips there.
Yeah, I don't know. Some of them are funny, and some aren't. Anyway, some of them are just too close to the truth, I think.
Uh-oh.
I think we probably pick up with number 8, correct, Liz? Okay. All right, here we go. This is from Carrie. Hi, Captain Jeff, a long-time listener in the sense that I've been spending a long time listening to old shows, but only discovered APG within the last year. Oh, well, welcome. In other words, I'm a new listener. I'm sorry you had to read that poor attempt at comedy. I completely understand if you refuse to read the rest of this email and file it in the trash.
Okay. Well, that'll save a bit of time.
Yeah, let's move on then to the next item in our feedback. Number 9. No, I'm just kidding. We'll continue since we went ahead and started to peel this banana. We're going to continue. Let's see. If you're still with me, for the record, I am vehemently opposed to checking vehemently. Okay. I'm going to start over, and then I'll just cut all that out. If you're still with me, for the record,
I am vehemently opposed to checking in on frequencies using, quote, with you. I'm just writing to say hello to a like-minded aviation nerd and introduce myself. I always dreamed of being an airline pilot when I grew up, but unfortunately when I grew up, I graduated from high school shortly after 9/11 and graduated from college during the 2008 recession. Both times I let the "it's an awful time to want to be a pilot" voices talk me out of it, and I ended up spending 12 years as an actuary, crunching numbers in a cubicle. It was a comfortable career, but my heart wasn't into it. I finally splurged to get my private while still working full-time in 2018. Spoiler alert, I loved it as much as I thought I would. I loved it so much, I decided to take the plunge and change careers. I got the rest of my ratings at ATP Flight School. I've been instructing in Myrtle Beach out of KMYR ever since November 2019. Side note, I know Acme flies primarily the 717 into Myrtle Beach, and your comment in the recent show about an overnight in Myrtle is what made me think about sending you an email. It's all starting to come together now, he says. Fast forward to today, I have 1,450 hours and a training date to fly the E-175 for SkyWest starting in July. Oh, that deserves this here. Oh, boom.
Hooray!
Very nice. Congratulations. I'm excited out of my mind. Like sometimes I can't contain my excitement and I need to just jump around or run in random directions. Think like when cats and dogs get the zoomies.
Brilliant.
Okay, I'll actually be moving out to Portland, Oregon before my SkyWest date, but if you have another overnight in Myrtle in the next month or two and have nothing to do, I know of a good new brewery near the airport, Tidal Creek. Oh, I remember seeing that as we were going to and fro the hotel, as well as a couple decent restaurants and even a wonderful state park if you're into that sort of thing. Random side rant about Myrtle. The restaurants and attractions here tend to cater to a certain type of tourist, so almost everything here is mediocre quality and overpriced. You have to search pretty hard to find anything else. This email is not necessarily meant to be shared on the show. Oh, okay. Oops.
That's right. Every restaurateur in Myrtle Beach is making a note of this now.
Yeah, we're going to have to put a picture of you out there so that they can find you and beat you up. This is more just a friendly hello, and most importantly, a huge thank you to you and the crew for putting on a wonderful podcast that I will continue to listen to as long as you'll let me. Well, what do you think? Should we let him?
I don't know. There is that blacklist we have.
Yeah. Okay, for now, we're going to go ahead and let you.
Okay, fair enough.
Liz says she's representing the HR department, so she says, okay.
Well, it's a good job she's on, because Steph is really strict.
Steph, you would be out.
Yeah,
trust me.
gone.
You'd be,
yeah.
The show is informative, engaging, and usually worth a few laugh out loud moments per show, or at the very least, a few laughing silently in my head moments. Blue skies, tailwinds, except on takeoff and landing. Carrie, who is he signs it below, future freaking airline freaking pilot.
Is he a friend of Ant? I don't know, because he's always saying things like that. That's brilliant. Well
That's
done,
freaking
Carrie.
awesome, Carrie.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and I have to say, I can tell that Carrie also listens to Opposing Bases, because they have this thing, those air traffic controllers over there, about people checking in with saying with you. And I'd never thought about it before until I heard their episode about that, and the fact that they keep kind of ranting about people saying, hey, this is Acme Flight 403 with you at flight level 400, whatever. And that's not me, because we don't get that high. And then I started hearing myself talking on the radio saying with you. And so I'm one of those guys that says with you. I've said it all my career, all my 33 and a half years of flying. And you know what? I'll try to stop saying it, but there's no guarantee. I think I might just keep saying it and maybe just bother the heck out of people like RH and AG when they hear somebody say with you. And in fact, I bet if I go back to that recording of me going into the mythical triad and talking to AG, I'll bet that you heard me say it at least once or twice.
or at least when I checked in. So,
well, I must admit, I fell foul of it a few times. I used to say with you, or perhaps checking in, something like that, because occasionally you'd go Virgin 123 flight level 390, and you'd hear the controller. Perhaps you didn't hear properly, and he'd say Virgin blah blah. Go ahead. So you'd go, well, you must know I'm checking in with you because I've just been handed over. And you'd have to think of something to say to go, well, I'm on frequency. I'm here.
Yeah,
this
I'm
is
with
me.
you.
Hello. I'm with you. So
but
what do you say?
I think it's RH and AG say something, and also with you, or something like that, like
Yes.
something you'd hear like with your spirit, and also with whatever.
Yes, absolutely.
But maybe that's why I say it, because I'm used to hearing it in church or something. But
Could be. So I'd like to know what the formal, correct way of checking in on a new frequency is.
I got, there are ways. I've been the last couple of trips that I've been on and doing my radio work. I've been I've been cognizant of what I'm saying and not saying with you, and most of the time, if I'm thinking about it, I can do it without saying with you. But then when I'm not thinking about it and I'm just doing my normal thing, I do say it. So I don't know. I think that here, Carrie, if you want to say with you, it's okay with us.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. I didn't mean to spend that much time on with you, but there you go. I guess I need to send some feedback into opposing bases regarding that. Let's see. Continuing on, and on this show I say all right, or I say a lot of things when I'm editing. I can hear myself saying the same things over and over again. And if you're offended by that, I'm sorry, and just send me an email to I'mOffended@airlinepilot.com. Let's see, Brian, number 9. This is a good one. He said, what do you guys think about this new proposed FAA regulation? He said, I could only get a picture of it. And let me read this to you here. So it's an interesting regulation. It's a new FAA proposed Rule 1000. 1000.1a. No pilot or mechanic or pilot's mechanics or person or persons editing on the direction or acting. I'm sorry. I need to adjust my glasses here. Let me take it from the top. 1000.1a. No pilot, mechanic, or pilots, mechanics, or person or persons acting on the direction or suggestion or supervision of the pilot, mechanic, or pilots, mechanics, may try or attempt to try or make attempt to try to comprehend or understand any or all in whole or in part of the herein mentioned federal aviation regulations, except as authorized by the administrator or an agent appointed by or inspected by the administrator. Okay, that's an interesting paragraph. The next one, if the pilot or group of associated pilots becomes aware of or realizes or detects or discovers or finds that he or she or they are or have been beginning to understand the federal aviation regulations, they must immediately, within 3 days, notify in writing the administrator. Upon receipt of the above-mentioned notice of impending comprehension, the administrator will immediately rewrite the federal aviation regulations in such a manner as to eliminate any further comprehension. And then finally, the administrator may, at his or her option, require the offending pilot, mechanic, or pilot's mechanics to attend remedial instruction in federal aviation regulations until such time that the pilot, mechanic, is too confused to be capable of understanding anything. Well, that makes perfect sense to me. I don't see a problem with that proposed rule. Do you, Captain Nick? You're muted.
Sorry, Jeff, I was just looking something up. Absolutely brilliant. No, I think that makes it as clear as mud. It's perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Brian from Katy, Texas. And I'm sure that this is real. I mean, it does sound like it.
If it's not, it ought to be. But I was just actually reminded to look up the crystal mark. And it's I don't know if it exists outside of the United Kingdom, but if you have a document you can apply to the Plain English campaign, who will give you a crystal mark if your what you've written is sufficiently clear in plain English. And I think an awful lot of companies and government departments would benefit by sending their staff into the crystal mark just to see how well they could be understood. Of course, a lot of people try and obscurate what they're writing just for the purpose of getting out of future legal problems, I'm sure. And I think they deliberately make them difficult to understand.
Right, so you have to have a lawyer and some kind of a trial or something to sort it all out.
Yeah,
and that way they might make more money. And so I guess the crystal mark is because if something is crystal clear?
That's exactly right, yeah.
Wow, very cool. Never heard of that. All right, let's continue. See, here, I told you. All right. Let's continue with Brad, number 10, flight simulation for Carolina Jeff. Hello to the entire APG crew. It was great watching APG 514 and seeing everyone in attendance for a great podcast. That was a lot of fun. And yeah, let's see how long that lasted. While listening to the great comments and advice to Carolina Jeff, who is about to undertake flying lessons, I was thinking that a computer flight simulation software might be advantageous for him. Although it was not mentioned, I was curious of your thoughts and opinions if this would be helpful. I happen to own Microsoft Flight, what's the FS stand for? Flight Simulator 2020, FS 2020, X-Plane 11, and P3D, which are all very realistic home computer flight simulators. I'm not sure if any of you have had any hands-on experience with these programs, but I think they would be extremely valuable for Carolina Jeff in his pre-lesson preparation. Again, just looking for your thoughts on this option. Thanks for an amazing podcast. Blue skies and tailwinds. Brad Nunn. Oh, Brad was the one we talked about the hard landings on the last episode. He's a airline pilot, Airbus pilot. So, Nick, I think you mentioned that you have dabbled in some of this home computer flight simulator stuff?
Yeah, I used to do it. When I first came onto the Airbus, I acquired a copy of the A340 flight deck, and the simulation of I had Microsoft Flight Sim was good enough to be able to practice quite a lot of instrument flying on it, and it was kind of fun just to mess about with, with a joystick, and because the visuals are so beautiful, and the modeling is actually remarkably accurate, considering it's done, by non-aviation. Well, I think about to say non-aviation experts, but I don't think that's true. I think they've got some really clever people in there working the model, but it's a company that's not really designing full motion simulators, is it? It's designing something that's supposed to be fun, as well as generate a certain amount of realism. So I think they're great in certain aspects. Don't ever fool yourself that you could climb out of from behind a computer screen and climb into an aircraft and do it all right. Because there's an awful lot of physiological effects that you might not be aware of that could spoil your day.
Well, you just spoiled Landon's day.
Exactly. But I think there are lots of things that you can benefit. And the latest versions are just superb. They really are. I mean, I've seen them on YouTube and on Facebook or whatever, and sometimes you have to really carefully watch a video there to work out that this is actually a flight simulator doing this. This is not a real video from someone filming a crash or a near miss or something. So they are extremely good and great fun. In fact, I used to be part of an AvSim setup where we would be military pilots flying whatever, all online, all together, flying missions. And it was very cool. It really was. It was very good. Great fun.
It's amazing, the world of flight simulation, home computer flight simulation is just incredible. And I honestly didn't realize it until I started doing the show and we started getting feedback from people and talking about services like VATSIM and others where you have, real-time air traffic control interacting and everything else. I'm thinking, what? I had no virtual airlines, virtual fighter squadrons, as you just mentioned. It's
exactly
amazing.
right. Yeah, I've got a friend who I keep in touch with regularly who only lives a couple of miles away. He's a head of a refueling tanker for the Royal Air Force. He's actually 70-something, and he sits behind his computer flying entire air-to-air refueling missions.
Wow.
And I'm going, boy, that's amazing. Yeah.
That is amazing. Yes, Liz? Yeah, I think that would be a good idea. She's saying that maybe we should hang on to this one, maybe move it into the next notebook, new feedback notebook, and see what Nick Camacho and Steph might have to say regarding this as well.
Yeah.
I think that'd be great. Good idea, Liz. All right. Here's some
She's
audio
full of
feedback.
That's
She's
good
full
ideas.
of it?
Yeah.
Yeah, she is full of it. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Sorry, Liz.
That's all right. We know that you really meant it. Okay, here we go. We're going to do some more audio feedback.
Hello, Airline Pilot Guy podcasts and all the hosts, including Captain Jeff. This is Carter. I'm not sure if this is a true story, but it is interesting. Some of you might not have followed the story back in 2020 about a California congressman by the name of Eric Swalwell. He was dating a Chinese spy. Her name was Fang Fang. The same congressman sat on the House Intelligence Committee. Who'd have thunk it? Anyway, he dated this woman for a number of years, and many in Congress are worried that he had passed along state secrets through her to the Chinese government. She left him when it was discovered that she was a spy, and she hastily traveled back to China. Anyway, it has been reported that she was on the Chinese jet that recently crashed unexpectedly in China. You know, the 737. I'm not sure how we could verify this. Many years ago, I flew all the versions of the 737 as an airline pilot, and I can't imagine what would cause one to just dive from 37,000 feet, behaving like a lawn dart, into the earth. I guess this is a new version of a lawn dart. Anyway, the Congressman Swalwell still sits on the House Intelligence Committee. Who'd have thunk it? Just thought this was interesting and that we might never know the full story. That is, unless she shows up unexpectedly again in the media. Thanks for a great podcast. Enjoy listening to it and keep up the great work.
Thank you, Carter. Who'd have thunk it? Yeah, that is, I don't know if I've heard anything regarding that or not. And yeah, that was the first time that, did you poke around, Liz, to see if you could find anything on that? Okay. But again, spies are kind of secretive, right? So, Liz has a CIA contact that she's going to see if she can figure this out.
She's
But anyway,
probably changed her name by now. After all,
I would think so.
Who'd want to be called Fang Fang?
I don't know. That doesn't sound like a very complimentary.
Come on, Nick.
Oh, there you go. That would be Nick's call sign or whatever. His
Fang Fang.
His secret. What do
no,
you call
they call me
ID?
White Rabbit. That's what
Nickname.
they call me.
White Rabbit. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, that is interesting. An interesting idea, but you're right. That is a very highly unusual thing to see that thing just falling straight out of the sky like that. And we have, I haven't heard anything about it. I know they have the flight data recorder and cockpit voice recorders, but it's been very, very quiet. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's not unheard of. There have been airplanes that have done similar things. So I guess we're going to find out.
Yep, hopefully. Or maybe not.
I mean, I was actually thinking of all the rudder hardovers, although they occurred at a lower altitude, didn't they? When the 7.3, and they fixed that problem many years ago. But that reared its ugly head in a lot of people's minds when that airplane did that thing.
Yeah,
because that was quite a dramatic loss of several aircraft.
It was. All right, continuing with 12 from Henry. Henry presents an image, and this is
very good.
It's a test. He said, "Teacher, the test isn't that confusing. The test," and there's a picture of an airliner, I guess. How would you describe this airliner, Nick, without seeing the photo?
From the front end, it's an A380 nose, and that then blends into a 747 400-ish. You get back to the engines, and they look like 747-8 or 787 engines. Then you've got a triple bogey, so that's 777 or A350. Back end of the fuselage has that boat tail. Now, what has that kind of boat shape?
DC-10.
Tail?
That's
there
a DC-10.
Well, the engine in the tail, but is the tip of the rear tip of the fuselage with that kind of
yes, well,
blunt
pitched. That's
end
the
is
like
the
the
same?
MD-11. I guess.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
So it's a beautifully blended combination of all those airplanes all stuck into one.
Yep, a good mashup, Liz says.
Yeah. So the only thing I can't, see in there is a 737.
Well,
I can't see any bit of a 737.
Yeah, is this what Henry said, Liz? I'd say it's a 737 MAX. Yeah.
Well, it's certainly been maxed out.
Yeah, definitely. A max.
Yep.
All right. Hey. 15 minutes. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and play just a little bit of this video sent in from by Jeffrey. And I'm not going to play the entire thing, but I do recommend that you check it out yourself. And is it one of these videos I've put in here? Let's see. Add to stream. No, that's a different one. Here, let me move that out. And I don't think this is it either. Nope, that's a reconstruction of the flight. So I'm trying to do a little cleanup here. So I'm going to have to go into video file and where did it go? Here we go. I found it. Open. And
back in this morning, a project you have never seen before is building a bridge between Seattle's past and its future right now. Once a symbol of human ingenuity in the Northwest, the Boeing 747 is about to land in a place it's never landed before, in the heart of downtown Seattle.
Today, the corner of Stewart and Denny looks a lot like other downtown Seattle street corners, experiencing a building boom. The new apartment towers are coming along, all building up to a special crescendo.
Seattleites should be incredibly proud of what they have done. You have an incredible city.
Developer Ian Gillespie, founder of Westbank, based in Vancouver, Canada, is the visionary behind one of Seattle's newest projects. A self-proclaimed city builder, Gillespie's built communities in major cities around the globe. But 1200 Stewart is one of his most ambitious projects to date. Between these two towers, Gillespie is landing a jumbo jet. At 250 feet long,
watch out,
more than 65 feet high, the fuselage of a Boeing 747 airplane will be the centerpiece.
The Boeing 747 is a beautiful object. Its curves, its lines, if you saw the word iconic, that's the image that should come to mind. And I think that it's not iconic for this region, it's iconic for the world.
The wide-body jet will hang 14 feet above ground and serve as offices for Westbank, but also a public gathering space and an entryway to shops and a Live Nation music venue. The birth of Boeing 747 in the late 60s.
Liz makes the point. She says she hopes that there's no blue ice involved with that.
Yeah, it's a good point.
When you're having your nice little cocktail in the park. Yeah.
Or perhaps they ought to make it a feature of your cocktail.
Ooh. Yeah, they could. A blue ice cocktail. That's an idea. Anyway,
I think it's great. I love the concept.
Yeah.
The only problem I have with it is these real aircraft that you try and store somewhere out in the open are notoriously bad at taking the weather. Mm-hmm. They turn ugly colours, they grow slime and moss, they start to leak, they deteriorate. After all, then they're not really built terribly solidly. It's not like you've actually got a building construction there. It's very, very thin aluminium compared with normal building construction.
Well,
so.
in the artist renderings here, it kind of looks like they've got it somewhat sheltered, kind of sandwiched between a couple of buildings, and I think there might actually be some kind of a roof above the thing as well. So maybe it has a better chance of.
Well, I would like to think so. And if they look after it, of course, it'll look great, but it's quite an expense to keep an airplane hanging there in midair, and you only have to ask a museum owner to ask him how hard it is to maintain those aircraft and keep them looking good. It's really tough. But anyway, it would be nice to see it happen. After all, if not Seattle, then where? Because it's the best place for it.
Right.
Honestly.
I mean, that's very apropos, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. No one goes to Seattle, so that's fine.
Okay. I'm sorry, Liz was talking in my ear. What did you say that must have been
I'm not repeating it.
Laugh? Oh, he said something very anti-Boeing, I think.
Me
that
no.
I missed. Yeah.
I wouldn't do
how
that.
Unusual.
I'm
all right,
very fair-minded.
Okay. That sounds good. Thank you, Liz. Number 15, we're going to Nick. Hello, airline pilots, guys. Okay. This is from Josh. Thought this was quirky. The German airline Condor, officially Condor Flugdienstgesellschaft mit beschränkter Haftung. Good luck,
Well, I'm
Jeff.
glad you said that. Yeah.
It's not easy for me to say, and I'm sure that wasn't even close, but I tried. Revealed their new aircraft liveries this past weekend. Here's some info on their thought process behind it. Personally, I think it brings something different and cheerful to the dull Euro white liveries that have become commonplace these days. Wishing everyone the usual shabam, Josh. And so why don't you go to that first one, Liz? This, and I'll tell you when to advance. This is the A321, the first Condor aircraft to fly in the new livery. Let's see. So this one these are vertical. Vertical stripes, kind of like cylinder around the cylinder of the fuselage, and in this case it's bright orange and white. And I'm sorry, this looks just absolutely atrocious to me. Hideous, yeah. Almost like some kind of a weird tropical lizard or something. I don't know.
Well, it looks a bit like a Christmas candy.
A Christmas candy or a prison jacket.
Yes.
Okay, Liz, advance to the next one. This is the first A330neo. And again, they're taking a beautiful-looking airplane and making it look just hideous, in my opinion. This one's the same vertical kind of stripes going along the fuselage, and this is like kind of an Irish green, I guess I'd call that. All right, let's see. Let's look at the next contestant. This one's not so bad because it's just the vertical stripes on the tail only, the tail fin of this Airbus A320.
A320,
yeah. Okay.
That's apparently because their leased aircraft will be operated by other airlines, only get a partial version of their livery.
I see. Yeah, aren't they lucky, Liz says. Yes. And then they have a couple of retro liveries, which I really like retro liveries. And this one is, I think, quite smart looking. This is based on the airline's 1960s to 1970s livery. And again, you'll look at the show notes if you want to see what we're talking about. Yeah, the nose cone, the radome is black. I mean, I remember a day when everybody's was always that black color.
Oh, my old man. Black. You know, when they first introduced radar into airliners, they did that. All the aircraft with early radomes, they were painted black. My old man got so upset because airlines that didn't pay to have a radar would just paint their noses black anyway, so everyone assumed that theirs was a radar equipped airliner, and he used to infuriate.
I can understand that. Yeah, I can understand why he would be. Yeah. And then the last one we have here is A320 with the retro kind of livery.
That's a nice color too. I like that.
I do like that. I forgot what they call that when they, and that I always like that look where they do the paint along the window line. I'm sure there's a term for it, but it always
called a stripe.
The stripe along the the window line. You know, there's probably something more technical than that. I'm thinking, but maybe not.
Can we have a stripe down the windows, please?
Oh yeah, I wanted the stripe down the window thing. Okay.
2 stripes on the tail. Yeah, that's right.
Okay, got it. Anyway. I think it looks good. I like those retro. Well, not a fan of the vertical stripes. No.
Okay, may not be very aesthetically pleasing, but it's striking. And when you see that airplane, you'll know exactly what airline it belongs to.
That's true. That is true. Yeah.
And after all, when you're sitting on the inside, you can't really see it. So who cares?
No, then you're not queasy and you can actually eat because you're not looking at it.
Oh dear.
A cheat line, okay. Why would they call it a cheat line? Okay. Well, we'll take his word for it. All right, and number 19, and this is going to be it for today's show. Robert sent in a link to this. Oh, and Laura Davis. And Robert used to be over there near that big chicken, but now he's near Tucker. And this is from boeing.net. I don't think that's the official Boeing website. Let's see. Mexico is renting out a presidential jet for birthday parties. And he said, and Laura says this is a great idea for an APG party jet, maybe for the 600th episode. Okay, well, I don't know. We're going to have to get a lot more contributions for that to work, Laura, but we'll see. Mexican President Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador feels that the country's $200 million presidential jet was a ridiculous expenditure and an insult to the country's people, and he's been trying to sell it off. Unfortunately, there haven't been any takers. So now, Lopez Obrador says the customized Boeing 787 Dreamliner, complete with presidential suite and marble bathroom, will be available to rent for weddings, birthdays, and coming-of-age parties. And, there's a video below. I didn't download the video. He says the jet is hard to sell because it's too specialized and made to order. I think we do have don't we have an overlay of that jet there? Okay. He said that the government, there it is, would still be open to offers for the plane, but after almost 3.5 years, that possibility seems remote. The plane was purchased for $200 million and was used by the previous president, Enrique Peña Nieto. It has been difficult to sell because it is configured to carry only 80 people and has a full presidential suite with a private bath. Oh, that's mine. Experts say it would be costly to reconfigure into a typical passenger jet that would carry up to 300 passengers. It's a good-looking jet, and I'm thinking we could have one heck of a party for sure at the APG on this jet.
Absolutely, yeah. Where would we fly to while we were having that party?
Does it matter, really?
Probably not, but it'd be nice to go somewhere special, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would. We could all land outside of Liss and go to Nick's place.
I was thinking of Oshkosh.
Oh yeah, we could go to Oshkosh in that. Wouldn't that be cool?
Absolutely. By the way, that's another version of the cheat line underneath the windows there.
Liz was saying it's a double cheat line.
Yes, it is. Absolutely.
But doesn't it have to be? Does the cheat line have to be along the windows or not? So
well, they started along the windows because it was supposed to break up the staccato impact of the cabin windows to make the aircraft look more streamlined.
Gotcha.
But after a while, that became a bit passé. So they moved sometimes below, sometimes above and below. And then stylized with lightning bolts and feathers and national flag, all sorts of stuff.
And what was the animal that was on the back of the Frontier tail?
Armadillo.
Armadillo, yeah.
Yes, exactly. In the UK, there used to be a regular thing on a car, and you could buy tape to put down, little thin tape. And we used to call them
Pinstripe.
Go Faster stripes.
Yeah, we call them pinstripes.
Yep. Well, would be a proper name for it. But the Go Faster was because it gave the impression that your car would go faster.
Yeah, I still see those every now and then. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Liz says the guys that put flames on the side of their cars, to make them
absolutely
look faster. And he said it's usually something like a Lauda, or something like that. Anyway.
The one I really used to like was the tiger's tail hanging out of your petrol tank.
Oh, yeah. That's a lot of fun.
You put a tiger in your tank.
Or my favorite is the fake arm that's hanging out of the back of your trunk. Yes. Or your bonnet, or whatever you guys call it.
Yep.
Boot.
Yep.
You call it a boot or a bonnet?
Yeah, we do call it. No, we don't call it a boot. We call it a boot.
Okay, boot. Or trunk. I don't know why we call it a trunk. But anyway, we do. And
that's what the elephant packs.
It does pack a trunk. Yes. Okay. It is now definitely time to wrap this thing up. So it's a treat for you
very
all.
Silly.
It's a special treat for you during Holy Week. You don't have to put up with as much of our show as usual. And no, I'm not going to sing for half an hour and put that on the end, Liz. Thank you very much for that great suggestion. Not. Okay. Well, she's still laughing. She can't. She really cracks herself up. She liked her joke. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I am going to try to do this very quickly, and nobody will know I'm even doing it. But now that I'm trying to do it, it's taking forever to do. Let's see. Where is the tab that I'm trying to share? Here we go. That is. Is it there? No, it's not there. Can somebody put it up there on the screen by hitting Add to Stream? There we go. Beautiful. There's our website right there in its present real-time state, Airline Pilot Guy Show. And the reason why we have that up there is to show you that you have lots of things that you can investigate while you're on our site. You can podcasts, APG on YouTube, information about the APG crew, which still needs to be updated, and we haven't gotten around to it yet, so sorry. Let's see, Plane Tales. There's a special Plane Tales page there that you can see. Yep. Look at that. You see all these different.
I put the Frederick, Carl, etc. up today.
Oh, good.
And I'm not going to do the replaying one, Jeff, but I'm going to do the one after, and then I'll have run up.
Okay. Very good. That's his way of telling me that I need to get back on the stick and put some more stuff in there for him to work on. Okay, APG Library. We talked about Tiffany in Buffalo.
Yeah.
And this is her work and all kinds of listings for historical fiction, aviation memoirs and biographies, astronautics, and more. So check that out. And let's see, what else do we have here? Of course, the Coffee Fund. Information about how you can join this great group of folks who support our show financially. We also have the APG store where you can get some t-shirts, some merch to support the show and show that you have great taste. And let's see, finally, contact us where you can SpeakPipe. There it is. SpeakPipe is one way to send in audio feedback, and we have our individual emails there as well. So check it out, AirlinePilotGuy.com. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I forgot the calendar. Here we go. The calendar is right here, and I usually put my trips on there, and then if you click on the trip, you can actually see the flight segments that I'm scheduled to fly, and if we have any meetups or the indication or... Yeah, I am goofing off the next couple of weeks. Actually, next week I'm going to be flying. I'm going to be picking up some flights or some trips. And then that final weekend or week in April, I'm on vacation. But we also put when we think we're going to be recording the next show. And so it's all there on the APG community calendar and so much more. So check it out, airlinepilotguy.com. And we are also on the social medias. And Nick is going to give this a whirl.
I certainly am. And if you're a face planter, then you just need to look at
face plant.
Just put in the search line there, Airline Pilot Guy, all one word. If you're interested in Twitter, then you need to look at our handle at APG Crew, and that sort of works for Instagram as well, except we don't need the app. We're just APG Crew on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
That's about it.
Very good, very good. We're going to go and play this now, just because I think that Hillel is with me again here in the cabin, and let's see if he's not too busy. Hey, Hillel, can you do Slack?
Okay, but I'm dripping wet.
Okay. We're used to it.
We're used to it now, hello.
Yeah. All right, he's going to come sit down next to me, and he's going to tell us all about Slack.
APG listeners, please join us on our Slack team. Slack is a communication, coordination, and sharing platform that works on your mobile, laptop, or browser. On Slack, we share news and ideas. We suggest episode and Plain Tales topics. We plan events and meetups. To get into the Slack team, please email me at slack@airlinepilotguy.com. That's SLACK, Sierra Lima Alpha Charlie Kilo @airlinepilotguy.com. Or send me a tweet with your preferred email address to @Hillel, and I'll send you an invitation. That's Hillel, spelled Hotel India 11 Echo 1, and see you in Slack.
Thanks a lot, Hillel. Appreciate it.
What the heck is on this hand towel, Jeff?
Don't worry about it. Don't have any idea what he's talking about. Anyway, that was Slack, so check it out. And also, we'd like to say a big thank you to Liz, our producer-director.
Hey! Well done, Liz. Good job.
Well done,
you look beautiful. You look beautiful in red, Liz. Very nice.
There you go.
Yeah.
And until next time, wishing you all a happy Easter and clear skies, unlimited visibilities, and tailwinds. Take care,
Happy Passover,
and God
too.
bless. And happy Passover, too. Yeah. And any other thing that you happen to be celebrating.
I don't, but goodbye, everybody.
Okay.
Bye, everybody.
That was smooth.
I don't celebrate things.
You know what we celebrate, Nick? The fact
go
that
on.
you're no longer on the show. Just kidding.
Oh, that was harsh.
Well, I didn't mean it. Didn't come out right.
You better do some atoning or whatever you do.
Like
there
when
at
we,
church.
yeah, I need to.
You
Trust
need
me,
to
I'm
go
always
to the
praying.
confessional again.
I'm always praying for forgiveness.
I don't know.
No, what they're thankful for is that when this ends, that's what they're thankful for. I don't know. That's what they celebrate.
Yeah, forget it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just we're gone.
Okay, so here's my possible titles, but they're not good. I'll warn you.
Okay.
The Wheels on the Bus. Now, I don't know if you can do anything about that, but the Wheels on the Bus.
Wheels on the Bus. Okay.
Next one is Whirling Fan of Death.
I think we've done that one.
Yeah, that's why we had the reference to it, I think.
Oh,
right?
did we? Okay.
Yeah.
Pilots Holding Hands. You know, they're talking about pilots holding hands.
Yep.
Andrew was talking about pilots holding hands. And
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Clear
That's
as
true.
mud. Clear as mud.
Okay.
And could we do anything with cheat lines? I don't know. Could you go in some direction with cheat lines or?
Micah said cheat lines and stripes.
Yeah, just have a totally wacky livery, like just a crazy livery.
Oh yeah,
Not that one
interesting
isn't, but anyway, that's all I got.
And maybe somehow incorporate the wheels on a bus into an airplane.
Well, yeah,
with
like
really
a yellow
wacky
school bus as
livery.
part of the livery, and with those red flashing lights, and
And while you're thinking, and while you're doing the artwork, you can just play this over and over again.
The wheels on the bus go round and round, round and round, round and round. The wheels on the bus go round and round, round.
All the day long.
we all have different lyrics.
What are you saying, Liz?
All around the town. All
around the town. Oh, I've heard that one too. Yeah, but I think it's all day long.
Or all
the
through
one that
the
I
town
remember.
or something.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, I think we can do something with that.
Okay.
Okay.
Phew. Good.
Excellent.
He's happy.
Well, if not, I'll just do a blank.
Okay, just
Let's do a black rectangle.
Black with white writing. Yeah.
With
And
stripes.
just say-
with black with stripes. That's it.
And just a cheat line.
Yeah, stripes and cheat line.
I like
and a
it.
bus.
Just a
And a
line
fan.
and just cheat line.
And a fan. And some mud.
I don't know. Okay, well that's good
we
enough.
got to end this because you got to get to
Yeah,
church. And
I gotta
do some
go.
brand.
I gotta put some pants on and get to church.
Well, that's a good. I'm glad you're doing it in that order.
Well, I know.
Do you have a check? Do you have a checklist?
My choir director, she really put her foot down on that one. So Jeff, really, I know you're up here in the choir loft and nobody can see you, but we can. So put
All
some
the women
pants
are
on.
taking out their compacts and watching them right there.
And somebody has to sit in that seat after you.
Yeah, that's not pretty. Not
Bye,
pretty at all.
everybody. Have a great long
All right.
weekend. If you have
Yes,
a weekend.
enjoy your Easter breaks.
And all your celebrations, whatever they may be.
Absolutely, and all your Easter eggs and rabbits and
whatever. Chocolates and those little puffy peeps, I think they call
peeps.
them. I think Steph loves those. We'll find out
Oh.
from her next week if she got some peeps. All right.
She's our peeps.
Bye.